This is like a big talib, guys. Let's see. Ooh, la. But I have to translate it. آقای من خوش آمدین.
سلام، چطوری آقا؟ حرف بزن دیگه.
میتونی گپ بزنین آقای عمر؟ Wait, give him internet problem. Okay, I think now he can talk once.
Maybe tell him
Get Starlink in Afghanistan. Come on.
آقای عمر حرف بزن دیگه.
سلام به همه دوستا. خدا کنه که شب باشه، صبح شما بخیر. خدا کنه که سلامت جور باشین. اول سلام باید تقدیم کنیم، بعد از انشالله حرف بزنیم. خدا کنه که جور و سلامت باشین همه دوستا خواهرای ما.
Yeah, that is so hard to understand.
He said hi to everyone.
No, I understood it, but it was really hard to understand.
My sisters and brother.
Yeah, it was basically hi in like 18 different ways. That's what it was.
That's how we say hi and hello, you know, in Pakistani, Afghans, Arabic.
Yeah, they go like,
go ahead.
They just say it over and over again.
Do you think the Tate brothers be given... sorry.
Okay, you're cutting out.
Did he ask to play this song? I'm just curious. I don't understand what he said.
This is fine. آقای عمر شما تو کجا تو افغانستان هستی؟
کجا؟
ما در شهر کابل هستیم عزیزم.
کجا هست؟
یعنی شهر کابل اسمش شنیدیم مثل تهران مرکز.
Okay.
کابل بله.
حتما.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions?
I'm going to ask you a question. من و سامیرا میخوایم بریم افغانستان 6 ماه از امروز. طالبان اونجا خوب هستن؟
یعنی به خاطر زیارتی میخوایی که تفریح کنی مثل در ایران که چیز شمال میری، مثل به همین خاطر اگر میایی 6 ماه هر موقع که میایی اینجا من در خدمتم اونجا، هر موقع که به چرا که ما اونما که مردم ایران خوردم در دوران انقلاب.
بابا من از ایران نیستم، ما از آمریکا هستیم.
از هر جای باشی شخص ایرانی هستی. ما نمیگیم که از امریکا هستی، از کجا هستی. هر کسی که باشه اونجا که میاد مثل مهمان اونجا ما پذیراییش میکنیم.
He said you're like my guest. Come anytime. I'm here.
I know. I understood.
Oh, let me tell the rest of the world.
It's really hard to understand, but goddamn.
Yeah, but I gotta tell the rest of the world, Sameera and all that.
No, they
there's
don't.
There's another talib.
I will book my next vacation to Afghanistan. Okay, that sounds like a good time.
Out what he's saying somewhat, like 10% of it.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
So any questions, guys?
Keep the translation going for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
This is hilarious. This is amazing.
Do they have good liver meat in Afghanistan?
Okay, so wait. Meena, so Lord Miles said that a lot of Taliban members, they like Top G. So,
I'll ask about that. آقای عمر شما Top G رو میدونیم؟ Andrew Tate تو افغانستان میدونی؟
ببخشی انگلیس چه ما بلد نیستیم، اگه با فارسی برای ما ترجمه کنی که مفهومش ما بفهمیم.
شما اندرو تیت میدونی کی هست؟
خواهر مینا تو نمی برای ما در فارسی بگو که در انگلیسی نمی حرف، یعنی لغتش انگلیسی است. در فارسی هم لغتش برای ما ترجمه کو که ما بفهمیم که مفهومش.
اسمش اندرو تیت هست.
Okay, let me tell him. آقای عمر منصورم بچه که در خارج طالبان را گپ زد، من ویدیوش انداختم برام میگم.
Meena, can you...
متوجه نشدیم چی مینا خواهر.
Dude, Taliban are so famous that Andrew Tate is nothing compared to what they did. So,
yeah, they're not familiar. They don't.
Do you think the Tate brothers will stay Muslim in prison?
Oh, here another Talib came. The Zalan guy, Senator, that one. He's more of like young and youngster, knows about Andrew Tate and all that. This one is old, big guy.
Ask them if they think that the Tate brothers should have halal meals in prison. Should they have halal meals in prison?
All right, Meena, he's in the space, so you can ask him.
Sorry, Sameera, what?
He's in the space.
Okay, perfect. Zalan, خوش آمدی. What's your thoughts about Andrew Tate, Megan?
Thank you. First of all, assalamu alaikum to all of you guys, especially Meena, Fahar, and Omar brother. I hope all is fine and good. I just want to say something about Andrew Tate. I saw a post. He have been surrendered by army. I don't know how he is, but I love it because he said in some videos that he was on a good way, that he's supporting truth or fact. That's why we must be support him. I think he said in some videos that he was to converting to Islam. So they're so good, inshallah.
Do you think he's being persecuted because he's a Muslim now?
So inshallah, may Allah give all of us the right to inshallah. We all can come to become, convert to Islam because Islam is the right and truth. That's why inshallah.
Do you think he'll stay Muslim in prison, or do you think he'll convert out?
No, inshallah. All Muslim will be come out conquerorly or victoriously, inshallah. That's why, like how Afghanistan have been.
Inshallah.
So he's legit Muslim in your view?
Did he convert to Muslim to run away from Israel?
میگه که مسلمان شد که اسرائیل برای
اینها میگن اندرو تیت اسرائیلی پاسپورت داره.
همین اسرائیل هم میگن اسرائیل استاد پهنتون.
Wait. If you from where, it's not problem from which country or foreign country. The most thing is important to become Muslim. That's important. It's not important you are from Mecca, you are from Saudi, or from West or Southeast. It's a must or important thing that you become to a Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, guys, can I tell you something about passport? 9/11, the buildings fall down, but Arabic passport were all good to go. That's why the reason to invade Afghanistan and Iraq. So a lot of things are staged.
Are you trying to suggest that maybe we haven't been told the whole story about 9/11?
Well, that's because those
passport, guys, passport.
Power of Allah.
Say, isn't it interesting that there were these dancing Israelis taking videos on 9/11? I for one, find that very interesting.
Well, when they went back, see, here's the thing. They went back on television back in Israel, and they said, we were there to document the event. Now, some people have taken that to mean that they were there to document 9/11 before it was even happening. I take that to mean, oh my God, we were up there and we saw the planes hit the building, and then we were there to document the event, of course, after it happened. So
no, famously on Yair Lapid's talk show. Yair Lapid.
They were there the day before. This is true.
Just so
with lighters and taking pictures. It was very strange.
So it's a crime to publicize Mossad agents or to show them on camera on Israeli TV. And Yair Lapid was asking all these questions and interviewing the people who were detained after 9/11, all the Israelis who were detained, or at least some of them. And he panned the camera to the Israeli Mossad handlers in the audience, and that was a big deal at the time in Israel.
So there are all sorts of laws in Israel about photography. Like
that's great, but how come you're not talking about Urban Moving Systems, the company for which they were, I guess, working for or whatever, which now like immediately stopped existing. The owner of which like ran out of the country and everything.
There were actually 6,000 Israelis that left the United States afterwards.
مینا خواهر ببخشید شما فریدیم مینا خواهر ببخشید.
What's the question?
Can we direct all of our questions?
فهمیدیم خواهر مینا خواهر علی فهمیدیم ما
he knows. So we have a translator with him. All right, you have a translator. Go ahead آقای عمر.
ما خب برات گفتیم که باید ما بفهمیم. عمر استاد دانشگاه رو میگه که اینجا با ما بندی بودن امی که ما حرف امروز زدیم. بله اگه میخوای که امروز چاش هم ما امروز صحبت کنیم بگویم چه مشکلات داره.
درباره همین دو منزلات چی هستن؟ 9/11 همی که انداخت که فلک تروریست اتک یا شده. میگه نظریه خودت چی هسته؟
دمی امریکا که 2001 شدن.
آفرین. Yes.
Were there some people who were hit by drone strikes in Afghanistan that he was okay with seeing go?
Okay, well, first question. Let him answer the first question then the next one. بفرمایید آقای عمر منصور.
یعنی نظریه ما خو نمیسته که ما دیدیم دمی 20 سال که چیزی مطبوعات بود، چیزی رسانی بود زیر دست امریکا بودن. وقتی که نمی یک برنامه را جور کردن نمی گفتن که این کار اسامه بودن. نه، اگر کار اسامه بودن چرا یهودیان نمردن بدون یسوع اونجا؟ یک برنامه بوده که به خاطر این کشور آسیا درست کردن.
So he basically, from what I understood, he said something like, if 9/11 was the work of Osama bin Laden, then why did Jews die in the attack of 9/11?
Why didn't it die? Yeah, it's like it was a stage, and we know and we witnessed what happened for the last 20 years in our country.
Whatever. Yeah.
Hey, what was the second question, guys?
I wanted to know if there were people who were hit by drone strikes in Afghanistan that he wasn't so sad to see be killed.
میگه کدام درونای آسمانی مردم کشته. Oh my god, lots of Taliban victims of those children, actually their family lost in drones. They drop bombs and stuff in their houses.
Sure, but some of them probably needed killing, I would think. Some of them you got right.
All right.
میگه کدام قصه داری که از آسمان که از طیاره‌های آسمانی بمبا انداختن سر مردم، چقدر مردم مرده؟
بله یک شنه ما تکنولوژی شاید داریم که تالی همین مردم خوابیده در دنیا اصلا خبر نداره که اینا چی تکنولوژی اینجا کار کردن. بدون درون یک تکنولوژی دیگه داشتن به نام اریر که یا نمیا که وقتی افغانستان اشغال کردن 2 بار در فضا آمدن، دیگه اصلا نیامدن. که وقتی اول اشغال میکردن آمدن، وقتی که خودش از افغانستان بیرون میرفتن نمی آمدن که یک ستاره بودن در میاوا که همه تمام افغانستان زیر کنترل ازی بودن که کشف میکردن.
He said, oh my god, it's not just drone attacks and all that. There was another very highest technology in the name of Arier, and they tried twice on Afghanistan, and that was worse than drone attacks and all that. But many people who are asleep, they don't understand these stuff. They don't understand what's happening.
Can I ask you, Meena,
what is that though? What is Arier?
It's like, like airplanes. He also said it's like a starship.
A kind of weapon. Weapon.
Very strong weapon.
Meena,
like
I want to ask you
the whole country. Yes, go ahead, Drake.
Could you ask him out of curiosity for the audience, what is his opinion on the difference between, say, the Trump administration and Obama administration and Bush administration?
Okay. آقای عمر منصور بین ترامپ
and Biden. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
آقای عمر منصور به نظر فرق بین ترامپ و اوباما و بوش و بایدن چی هست؟ چی نظریه داری؟
یعنی فرقش نمی بود. وقتی که بوش آمدن نمی یک جنگ صلیبی را نمی در کانگرس امریکا در 2001 اعلان کردن. تو گوش کو باز اوباما که آمدن که فهمیدیم که سیاست امریکا در افغانستان ناکام شدن، باز دروغین یک حمله در پاکستان انجام دادن که ما نمیجه اسامه را کشتیم. دروغ میگه 3 سال پیش در متحده امارات امی بیمارستان المکتوم نمو از مرض گرده کشته شدن. چرا به دنیا نمی نشان ندادن؟ این به خاطر نمی که تکنولوژی و سیاست ما به دنیا خراب نشون نمی نام اعلان کردن. اصلا اسامه امریکا نکشتن. این به خاطر سیاست امریکا نمی حرف زدن. نمی مشکلاتش بودن.
ترامپ چه نظریت داری؟
ترامپ که بود، ترامپ یک آدم سیاسی نبودن، او فقط پولدار بودن و می خاطر به می حکومت رسیدن. او یک نظر تصمیم داشتن با می خاطر رفتن. شاید اصلا باز نبیه.
He said that all Biden, Bush and Obama all same game, but Trump was not a politician. Trump was money guy. So he came. I don't think he might come back or not, but he tried his best. So based.
Thank you, Meena. I appreciate that, and thank you.
All you guys, Taliban, man.
Based. I appreciate that.
Based. Ask him to make the best case for why women shouldn't be in school. Because I want to hear the other side of this debate.
No, my God, they're tired of this question. Anyhow,
no, I don't mean it. I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I want to be
guys, we're not going to ask that question. I don't even.
Wait, why not? That's a good question. That's a good question.
You have a good answer. 1 second. آقای عمر مسعود چرا مکتب‌ها بزن‌ها با بسته شده؟
Look, some women shouldn't be in school. Let's just be real about it. They're annoying.
با ما تو خوب به تفصیل بیانم چیزش کن. ما نیستیم که ما خواب باشیم. تو گوش که ما یک روز پیشم بری تو گفته بودیم 110 سال پیش که می غربی ها چیزی تصمیم داشتن که در افغانستان خصوصا در کشورهای اسلامی نمی را انجام بدن که اول مکتب بودن، نصاب تعلیمی مکتب بودن که اولین امان الله خان مردم افغانستان از افغانستان کشیدن و 100 سال بعد می برنامه چی اروپا که داشتن در افغانستان در 20 سال تطبیق کردن. این نصاب غربی است، ما اصلا به نصاب اسلامی و افغانی را صحیح نمی کنیم.
Okay, so he said, guys, talks about Rockefeller education system, and it's not new. It's a system they brought in our country by King Amanullah Khan's father, and ever since the same system, they're indoctrinating our children, and it's happening in the West and all that. So we're not against education for women and boys. We're against the system. So that's why they have been fighting. By the way, there's a picture of Talib. It went around, and he's actually ripping off a book. So all the media is like, look at these barbaric people. They're against education. But no, if you zoom in,
I think we have a lot to learn about.
Okay, if you zoom in the book, it's a Disneyland with stories, and you know what Disney is like, what they're trying to do with children's mind. Anyhow, so that's what he said.
Does he have a favorite Disney movie?
I have a G. Oh hell no.
I mean, you could ask him that. What is his favorite movie? What's his favorite American movie?
Do you ever watch
Aladdin? فیلم مثلا فیلم چی تو برای ما بگو که ما برای تعریف کنیم.
فیلمای دیزنی کارتونیاشون خوش داری؟
نه ما بین می چیز علاقه نداریم. ما فقط در دنیا فقط یک فیلم ما سعی میکنیم که از
دیدی
از واندم فیلم ما سعی میکنیم.
He's talking about Wanda. Oh la la.
Hey, Meena, can you make sure to tell him just thank you for giving his answer to Meena. I appreciate it.
Meena, what did he say?
تشکر آقای عمر از شما.
What did he say? Ooh la la, what?
Van Damme, like that guy with dish.
Oh, they love Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, he likes that.
Oh, of course. He's like so famous.
Time Cop was a great movie. I don't care what anyone says.
We love Bloodsport.
Time Cop.
آقای عمر شما Bloodsport kickboxer هیچ وقت دیدی؟
I have a geopolitical question.
مینا خوار این لهجه از کم انگلیسی است. تو دمی فارسی خودم برای ما تعریف کو که ما جوابش بدم.
Your accent is not that Persian, so I need to translate.
That's not true. Dude, his accent's hard to understand. It's fucking Afghan. I can't understand shit.
Duh, they're Afghan, man. They're in Afghanistan.
I know.
مینا خوار نمیره برای ما تعریف کو که چی گفتن که چرا لهجه از کم انگلیسی هستن با می زبان خود ما.
Dude, I speak like Tehran fucking Farsi. That's the best I can.
Okay, so for the audience, I want to ask real quick for the audience.
Another question. Good job.
I've got one too after.
For the audience, I just want to ask, have you guys been discussing this in Farsi, just to be clear?
Yes.
Well, it's Dari, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, okay, is it Dari Farsi or is it?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Different.
Yes.
Not everyone is like from Iran. Nuance Bro.
What?
First of all, I just want to say this is the most entertaining space I've ever heard. Thanks, Nuance Bro, and thanks to all the co-hosts.
Ask him how many kids he has, and if he has multiple wives, and how he keeps them in line. That's important.
I have a question. Sorry, it's my turn now.
Okay, کی باشه؟ one second. زالان چی گفتین؟
Andrew Tate آزاد شده یعنی از بند.
Oh, he's worried about Andrew Tate. He's like, is he free yet or not? He's asking you guys for update.
Unfortunately,
Inshallah,
he'll be free. Inshallah.
Yeah.
He will.
The one thing that I'm defending.
He'll be in prison for 30 days.
Okay, it's fine. That will be. That will be fine soon. The one thing that I'm defending Andrew Tate, that is, he said in one video that about feminism, there's someone defending or about feminism, that we will be sent to Afghanistan because they are giving good rights to women. That you know, guys.
So he basically saying like he was against feminism and
I
all
have
that. So does Taliban. Yes, Syrian, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to ask about, it's a geopolitical question, about the going forward after the GCC countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar condemn the Taliban. Does it think the Taliban is going to be closer to Iran and Syria and that sphere, seeing as they're also getting closer to China?
یک سوال هستن که فکر میکنین طالبا امرای مثلا ایران و سوریا و چیزا نزدیک میشه یا امرای چینایا مثلا کارتان زیادتر نزدیک میشه کاربارتان؟
Oh, and one follow-up. What does he think of the US occupation?
گوش کو تو برش بگو. ما خب پالیسی بلد هستیم. در شریعت ما پالیسی خودش علاوه یک چیز داره. وقتی که اشغال نباشه کشور ما قطعا همه مردم میخوایم که تجارت داشته باشیم، روابط داشته باشیم. لیکن در حساب سیاست به مقابل غرب برای ما نزدیک روس و چین و اینمی کشورها هستند. چرا؟ که دنیا دو قطب میشه. وقتی که دو قطب میشه در حساب سیاست برای ما اینمی دوست هستن، اینمی مردم ها چی رقم دوست هستن که برای ما کمک هم میکنه، اینمی په حساب پالیسی و غرب اینمی علی دماغ فکر میکنه در افغانستان شکست خورده، خود 2 سال 3 سال بعد اصلا اقتصاد غرب دیگه هم خراب میشه. چرا خراب میشه؟ که ما در روس دیدیم وقتی که روس در افغانستان شکست خوردن همی دیوال برلین هم خراب شدن. ما می نظر تصمیم داریم که غرب دیگه هیچ نمیتونه که امپراتوری کنه در سر دنیا.
تشکر آقای. و دیگه درباره 20 سال که امریکا گرفت افغانستان گفت چی نظریه دارید؟ The second question, Syria, I just asked them one second.
The occupation of Syria, sorry, specifically.
Like نه امی کسی که میگه سوریا را که گرفتن، نه مردمی که سوریا را هم گرفته، چی نظریه داری؟
در سوریه خو اینا آمدن تو این میل گوش کمی داعش که وقتی جور کردن فقط امریکا جور کردن به خاطر نفع خود. فهمیدن که ما در افغانستان شکست خوردیم، یک گروه را آوردن نموجه در سوریه. سوریه خودش نمیجه مردم ها هستن، مثلا مردم ایران وحشت کردن اونجا. چرا وحشت کردن؟ که هیچ حق نداشتن که ایران داخل شوند در عراق و در سوریه. این در لبنان سایکو به نام احسن نصرالله یکی داره، این نمیجه به نام مقتدا صدر یک دانه داره. وقتی تا که ایران کنترل نشوه در کشورهای عربی همی جنجال هستن.
He said that they basically create ISIS for their own benefit and they couldn't get into Iran. As long as they cannot put their base in Iran, all other countries going to suffer. And then the first question, I actually forgot, sorry.
How does he feel about the Emiratis stealing all the money that was intended to go to Afghanistan and laundering it in Afghanistan? The Emiratis, the UAE. How does he feel about the UAE laundering all the cash that America sent to Afghanistan?
میگه چی فکر میکنی دبی والا که رفتن پیسه ها رو میبردن از اونجا تیر بیر میشه؟
دبی والا مثلا که متوجه نشدم کی پیسه رو میبردن؟
همین مردمایی که دبی میره.
افغانای خود ما منظورت است؟
حتی افغانای خود ما پدر بیادر احمد شاه مسعود هم که رفت از اونجا نه یک پیسه رو بردن خود.
یعنی تو گوش کو در متحده امارات در اون دوران اعلان کردن که هر کس میخواد داخل امارات سرمایه گذاری کنن در تمام جهان اعلان کردن. این خاص به خاطر افغانستان اعلان کردن که کلی پول غربی آوردن داخل افغانستان، همین چیزی پول دلار که است باید امارات بیارن.
Washing the black money basically through Afghanistan going to UAE, Dubai and all that.
Who's the guy who was laundering Khalizad, the ambassador who got in trouble for laundering the money? How does he feel about those Americans who made money off of Afghanistan?
و چی فکر میکنی که خلیزاد پیسه ساخته از طریق افغانستان؟
این دست خلیزاد نبود، خلیزاد یک آله است. چرا که امریکا خود اعلان کرد که ما در تمام دنیا یک کشور پیشرفته هستیم. این میشه که یک خلیلزاد وری شخصی آدم ساده بیا این
خلیلزاد is just a puppet, he said. He's just a puppet. He's a player in front guy. It's behind him is more other people.
آقای عمر،
who are the people behind him?
ما بیایم افغانستان میتونیم تیراندازی بکنیم با طالبان؟
میخوای تیراندازی کنم رایت؟ میگم رایت میخوام تیراندازی کنم وقت افغانستان آمدم.
با تفنگ طالبان میتونی بکنیم؟
یعنی میتونی که همون تو تفریح بری میتونی، لیکن 20 سال تو کجا بودی؟ خواب بودی که نمی که اشغال شده بودی که صدای خود بلند
کنی. He said, where were you in the last 20 years and now you want to enjoy my تیربازی?
Well, yeah, because now you guys control the fucking country.
بگال کنترل دارین ما میتونیم بیاییم.
So can I ask about the education of the girls? And I don't know if anybody's already asked that. Yeah, it's already been asked, bro.
We already did.
افغانا بگو میمانواز هستن. گوش کو مینا خواهر افغانا میمانواز هستن. هر وقت که میایین اینا می جبرائیل اومد
We have a warm hugs anytime. Any of you come, we're here for you. That's all he said.
Was he surprised that the US-backed government were such pussies when they came and took the country? Or like
I'm
what
not
it was
gonna say that
word. He's trying to tell me
cowards, chicken.
I can't say that word. Oops.
He's trying to tell me something right now. آقای عمر بفرمایید.
یعنی میمانوازی افغانا در تمام دنیا شجاعتش معلوم است. چرا که به خاطر یک مهمان عرب اسامه تمام کشور خود 20 سال زیر اشغال آوردیم ما. یعنی بازم پیروز شدیم. یعنی یک نمونه است به جهان به نسل آینده تمام دنیا.
We're great at hospitality, and that's why we have been suffering for the last 20 years to not give Osama.
I don't know how to say kidnapping. Ask him, what about the kidnappings?
Mega دوزی میکنی مرا؟
That's just really, really nice hospitality.
نه چی دوزی کنه، ما خو مسلمان هستیم، ما خو با می دوزی اصلیه خود بیلان کردیم، به خاطر همین وحشت اصلیه خود بیلان کردیم. همین اسلام ما خو بسیار یک میانره، یک خوب اسلام هستند که هر کس حق دارن که اینجا زندگی کنن. همین چیزی وحشت که داخل افغانستان یک چند تعداد مردم تربیت کرده بود، یک کلگی دست غرب بودن. ما فهمیدیم همین غرب داخل افغانستان 20 سال کار نکردن. در زمان روسا که پشت مردم افغانستان بودن تا اینمیالی آخر نتیجهش همین 20 سال اشغال بود.
He said we're Muslims and real Muslims don't do that stuff. No corruption.
Yeah, but it happens. That's my fucking point.
How does he
they
feel
were not
about
Muslims,
the US
guys.
freezing?
They were fake. They were sold. They sold their souls.
How does he feel about the US freezing all of the money of
Afghanistan? اگه گرفته امریکا چی فکر میکنین؟ $9 billion.
این پیسه را خواست به خاطر اینمی گوش خو مینا خو هر بسیار به تفصیل یک گپ ما برات بزنیم. وقتی که 2.5 سال مذاکرات کردن فهمیدن که طالبان هیچ چیزم قبول نمیکنن. و در راستش که اشرف غنی بودن، دیگه سیاسیون بودن، امرالله صالح و دکتر عبدالله بودن، براش گفتن که نمی پیسه را شما بکشین نموجه او نمی چیزی قدرا که داخل افغانستان داریم که داخل دولت هستن نمی ما میکشیم در یک کمپ میمانیم که نموجه، چرا که 6 ماه طالبان سیاسی سقوط میکنن نشدن. یعنی تصمیم نمی نظر داشتن نمی پیسه را کلگی با می خاطر با می نام کشیدن، چور کردن، چپاول کردن، در حق افغانا خیانت کردن.
That they're stealing Afghanistan's wealth, etc., right?
Can you ask
they just want to manipulate the world so they can, they're hungry, poor, poverty and all that, to manipulate them that back to give them a base.
I got like a little bit of that. I got like 30% of that. But
can you please ask him about the hadith, about the black flags from Khorasan, and if he thinks
yeah, sorry, and go
Can we ask him about woke culture? Can we ask him about the woke agenda and what he sees happening in the West, where we're not allowed to
he
say
talked about the Rockefellers, right?
Women are men.
Yeah, he did.
He already talked about. Yeah.
All right. So یکی گفت اگر درباره حدیث خراسان امام مهدی گفت، اگر کلام چیز گفتنی دارین، و سیریان گرل گفت درباره همین مردمی که در خارج میگن اینا ما بیدار شدیم و those are new age movement wokeism. It's like so bad. They're actually manipulating the term moment, all right? Moment, someone who become awake, that's a completely different, and then these people, corruption, they destroy that too. They made something crazy out of it. Crystals and, oh my God, sexual energy, da-da-da-da-da. So don't fall for it. Anyway, go ahead, Agha Mansur.
Interesting.
در مذهب ما و امام مهدی در زمان آخر وقتی که میان و در فلسطین میان، از فلسطین مبارزه خود شروع میکنه و یک بحث شرعی هستن که بسیار کلان بحث هستن. اگر حساب سیاست نمی مردم تو سعی کو دین ما از چیز از سیاست از دین برای ما جدا کردن که ما اینمی رقم سرگردان هستیم در دنیا، دست زدن اینمی مردم ما، همین شرط ما، در قانون ما.
So he said that that group is going to come eventually and destroy Antichrist, the Dajjal system, the deceiver, but that's a completely different topic. But I just want to say that they basically disconnected politics from religion and signs all. That's why Muslims lost their power.
Is that what he said, or is that your? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
No, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Oh, he said that the Muslims disconnected politics from religion and they became secular.
Not
That's why they
Muslims,
lost their power.
Not Muslims, the corruptions.
Okay.
That got into like golden age of Islam, the Ottoman Empire. They were in power, right?
So does he think the black flags of Khorasan is going to come from Afghanistan? Because a lot of Muslims believe that it's going to come from Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's what
Afghanistan میگه خراسان مردمش. Afghanistan used to be named Khorasan, the empire. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
فرمایید آقای عمر.
تو باز برای ما تکرار کچی گفتن؟
میگم فکر میکنی همین بیرق سیاه امام مهدی. By the way, it's called امام مهدی, okay? میگم امام مهدی از خراسان افغانستان میاد.
یعنی کی خبر داره که امام مهدی سیاه بیرق داره؟
He's smart. I love this guy. Ooh, la.
What'd he say?
He said, how do you know the flag is black? That's why they manipulate ISIS, with black flag.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's always been one of my questions.
I added that part, by the way. Anything else?
Is the Khyber Pass safe area to traverse?
Yes, it is. I'm gonna tell you it is. Trust me. آقای منصور خیبر پاس جای خوب است. میگه خیبر پاس میتونیم از پاکستان پس کنیم بریم افغانستان یا خواب میبینن.
خیبر پاس.
همین خیبر جنگ چی خیبر میگن همون حرف میزنه غذای خیبر
از این پشاور میگه از پشاور یا میخوان از پاکستان باشه شون افغانستان. we're planning a trip.
چرا نمیخواد کلگی مردم که پاسپورت داشته باشی از هر جا از امارات هم آمده میتونی از پاکستان هم آمده میتونی و به حساب ویزا آمده میتونی نموشه باید اما هنگ باشی کتی سفارت کتی مردم تیز کتی حکومت طالبان و نموشه باید بگردی میای نمیاله همه مردم میای جا خود چور نیست که مثل مردم میگه که هر کس میره اونجا میکشن نه هیکا پاکی هست.
Okay, he's basically saying, oh, it's totally safe as long as you have a passport and everything.
Yes, offering, yes.
It's all good, whatever. I don't believe him totally, but it's fine, whatever.
What about like the humanitarian situation? I know, people have mentioned before, America is blocked.
Yeah, we
700 million. Oh, okay, so people are getting food, or can they eat and things like that? And I missed that. I just rejoined again a couple of minutes ago.
میگه در موضوعی که امریکا همه چیز دیگر رو بند کرده سانکشن است و چیزای چطور میشه کمک از کجا میگیره اینایی گرسنگی مردم مسئله صحت است و این است و آن است چی نظریه داری؟
یعنی خوب مثالش همی 20 سال اشغال بودن افغان ها میکه شجاعت دارن اگه کمک شون اگه نشون نمی مردم شجاعت خودش دارن که نمیشه کار پیش ببرن نمیاله به حساب یوناما نمی چیزی پولی جهانی که میان به نام حقوق بشر اینمیا هستن مردم افغانستان خودش کار میکنن یک ضرورت براش ندارن یا غربیا بودن که با ما آمدن گفتن که دنیا پیشرفت کردن با تلویزیون داشته باشی داشته باشی نه ما فرق میکنیم با تمام جهان هم زندگی ما فرق میکنه اگر غربی ها برای ما نمی سیستم جور میکنه افغانا کی قبول میکنه واسه کی جنگ کاتش میکرد اگر نمی قانون غرب سر خود تحمیل میکرد.
So he basically said we Afghans are really brave. We can manage as we did before, as we have been doing. They lied to us. They said, the world got advanced. You guys are barbaric behind the mountains. You need to become liberate in democracy, bring TV and all that. And that's how they deceived us. But we can manage. We don't need no one's help. We can manage.
Inshallah.
تشکر.
آقای عمر آقای زولان منو رو توییتر فالو کن میخوام با شما هر وقت من میرم افغانستان با شماها حرف بزنم و
بسیار زیاد تشکر. یک گپ فقط میخوام که بزنم در انگلیسی میذارم چرا که اینجا همه انگلیس هستن بخیالم. Guys, I just want to say something that you all guys can come to visit Afghanistan very safe.
Thank you so much.
No fear about terrorists, about kidnappers, because Afghanistan is alhamdulillah safe now from any terrorist. Inshallah, Afghanistan will be always safe. Inshallah, we hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much.
Tashakkur.
Thank you. Inshallah, we'll be visiting soon with Andrew Tate.
Follow me back.
Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it.
With Andrew Tate.
It's not Afghanistan. It's not Afghanistan I'm afraid of. It's like the 80 list that my name's going to go on when I come back to the US.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm not afraid of the Taliban. I'm afraid of the US.
Listen, if you go there for journalistic purposes like me, you'll be totally fine.
No, we're going with Andrew Tate, remember?
Bro, get me a press credential.
In prison to do that.
Get me some press credentials. I'll join you.
That I love Taliban, Talib Bros. That I love it.
Talib Bros. Top tees.
Top tees.
This is bad, Sameera. Look at us. Sometimes they come, they're like, where's your hijab? Why are you guys talking about Taliban? I'm like, I don't know. Like, these people, they're not against women. They're just against sleep women, okay? If you're asleep, they don't want to cheer for you. They don't want to just become a distraction or something for their political system.
Yeah, but try not wearing that hijab in Afghanistan. It'll be a different story.
So Nuance Bro, are you Afghani?
Right now in Afghanistan,
he's Iranian. He's Iranian.
Persian.
Oh, okay, so what was he? He was speaking Farsi or Afghani? Or like
Farsi with a very like Tehran American accent.
Huh, interesting.
He's like in the Bay Area. Probably.
I'm not in the Bay Area anymore. But
not you. I'm talking about him, bro.
Well, yeah, I can barely understand these guys when they speak like Dari, so it's really hard.
That was fun though. I really appreciated you, Meena, doing that for us.
Yeah, that was the best space I've ever had. Thank you so much. I will remember this for the rest of my life, that we had the top teas, the Talibros in the space talking to us.
Yeah, it was Zalan, where's my right? Omar followed me back. Where's my follow back, Zalan?
Mega Mara pass follow ko Omar. Guys, you gotta pay me some dollars. A lot of translation.
Oh, Omar followed me back. Okay, there we go. Zalan followed. There we go. We're good.
Guys, honestly, like I have been the victim. Like it's just about like hating something, right? So we got injected with a lot of hate towards a group. Like they're killing you, they're gonna destroy you. So that affected my narrative towards life, about everything, my decisions, everything. So ever since I opened spaces and I allow myself to face my fears and talk to these people, they're just human. I'm telling you, my life changed everything. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to us? Where I was living? A lot of propaganda, a lot of lies, a lot of fear, a lot of hate, and it's so bad. It's like a cancer within you, right?
Sorry to interrupt, but we do have the Panjshir Valley Resistance in the space. For some reason, they want to...
Oh, God, we're on list now.
Oh, no, yeah. That's another group fighting Taliban.
Yeah. Are they still going strong in Panjshir?
No, it's nothing. It's all illusion. It's all a space, nothing else.
No, we support the Talibros.
Well,
hold on. No. Wait.
Sexy woman.
Are they still like surviving against the Taliban?
No, they're losers. They're losers, and they're allied with ISIS. They're allied.
Jesus Christ!
Are they really?
Yes.
Is that true?
Supporting them?
Yes.
Supporting them. Bernard Levitt. Henry Bernard Levitt.
And Eric Prince.
Thank you.
And Bernard Levy. You guys are tools of the West. You guys are pawns and minions of the Antichrist.
Wait, hold on. I don't know if that's totally...
Like, it is true. It's true.
No, hold on. In Panjshir, this is historically, they've like resisted every invader like pretty much ever, right? So they just want to resist anybody, right?
Good for them.
Nope.
I mean, okay, agencies listening, I just want to, for the record, say I'm an independent person. Like,
hey, Drake, you just got to double down. You're already a terrorist in America's eyes. It doesn't matter, bro. Just accept it. Wait.
Especially Nuance. Can you just tell your bosses, please?
I just love everybody. I'm trying to be like, I'm trying to get stories, you know?
I really do want to confirm this. If me as an American redhead with a American passport want to travel and hang out with the Taliban, break some bread, is that okay?
It's all good. Trust me. You can take pictures.
I never want to go against whatever the government says. If they say it's okay, it's okay. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. We'll talk to the embassy. We'll try to figure it out. Let's see. Mr. Abushakibaba. Medja Pajjur. Chatori, how are you?
Hello, salam alaikum. Salam arz adab khidmat hamay.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you? Good morning. یک دقیقه ما با فارسی میگم. امی مینا تو برای ما چیز کد برای جو ترجمه خود بیشتر درباره بیرق سوال کردی. خب گفتی بیرق سیاه آیا ظهور میکنه و امروز امام مهدی ما درباره میخوان گپ بزنم.
Okay, he wants to talk about Imam Mahdi, the Black Flag, Khorasan coming to destroy Dajjal. Go ahead.
Meena, listen to me.
Oh, hell yeah. That's my topic.
We are online from the Panjshir province. It is so safe province, and we say welcome to the tourists and you to come.
Oh, he's against an Arab. Oh, la la. Yeah. Fake account. Good job. Salam.
ببین ببخشید با حضرت
you all can come to visit Afghanistan briefly. There is no
No water, no blood, no nothing. Come on.
بله این الحمدلله بسیار مرکز آرامش و سرزمین بسیار خوب طول 20 سال ما بسیار نارم بودیم.
Okay, here's the real question. Here's what I really want to know. If I go to Afghanistan, will I be able to take... No, stop. Here's what I really want. I just want really cool Instagram pictures with top Taliban brass. Can I do that?
Yo, follow Slampal down there. He just sent a request. Can you guys accept? He's another Talib. Dude, what's going on?
So,
bro, there's so many fatting here by now already.
If I go to Afghanistan, I don't speak a lick of Afghani, Pashto, literally nothing. How does that work?
Just speak English. They're bilingual. They know English.
Incredibly big.
Nonsense.
Dude, America was there for 20 years, so even the children knows English.
They don't.
Okay, but that's not the Taliban.
Sameera,
the Taliban don't know.
Taliban, right now they're talking to
who are the Taliban in this room right now, so I can follow them?
Know about English.
Here, Slampal. You're Talib. How's your English? Can you talk, please?
Okay, so Zalan and we have Omar Mansour. They're Taliban.
They're Taliban and Slampal, the guy with angry eyes and eyebrows.
Yeah, I'm not following any Panjshir or Northern Alliance type. Sorry.
Hey, that's a fake Panjshir. Don't worry, he's good. He's just using account to troll. Okay, let's say hi to Slampal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Taiko kuja avurdem tona kho paisa give me money.
How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah. As kuja hasti.
Alhamdulillah, we're doing good.
Tandos biya.
Where? Your English did not sound bad at all right there.
Go ahead, Mike is yours, brother.
So what do you want to say, Slampal, about the Westerners listening to a Talib? Any message? Go ahead.
What do you want to know about Taliban?
How was U.S. invasion and fighting against U.S. invasion and NATO?
It was hard, to be honest. 42 countries were fighting against us. 100,000 Afghans were against us inside the country. The neighboring countries, they all were part of coalition, and they were fighting against few believing Muslims. And alhamdulillah, few thousand believing Muslims. It's rare in the history that few thousand believing Muslims got victory over such powers. It's a rare. You will never find it in history.
Alhamdulillah.
Now, what do you think about Andrew Tate?
The West need him, to be honest. The West, they...
Go ahead, keep going.
I think men in the West are getting oppressed by feminists. Their rights are getting... they are not getting their rights, and they are losing the manhood. Andrew Tate is the one. I think they will wake up everyone in the West. I think.
Well, what do you think about Andrew Tate? How he did these porn websites with women? Is this in keeping with Islam?
No, brother. You cannot judge anyone on their past on Islam.
No, but I'm saying their present and how they their women's stuff.
I don't know anything about that, to be honest.
I don't know if any of his cam websites.
So you're asking a Talib. Taliban knows how much propaganda is going around, so they're not going to say anything without seeing it. They've been fighting the battle. This is how.
I mean,
whatever he has done in the past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you cannot judge anyone on the past. Now he's claiming that he's okay, he's good, he's Muslim. We have to support him, and let's see how it goes. If he's still doing it, then wallahu alam. But I think for now he's doing good, to be honest. And I don't know anything if it's still doing it or no.
I agree.
Okay, we have someone else. Slampal, sorry, Syrian. We have someone else who's Afghan, who grew up in the West and become a little bit aware of what's happening. And he just went to Afghanistan and came back. His name is Basil. Can you please bring him up? I don't know why I can't bring him up.
Because there's too many people, I think. You have to...
Because you need it. You need your questions. He got the answer.
Give me a second.
And he shared a picture on the pool with Taliban. Go to his profile. It's so funny. It's so funny. I laughed so much.
I know Basil. He's been in Twitter spaces of mine way back in the past. But I think he's also gay, isn't he?
Hello. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Meena. Hi,
Basil, is it true that you were in Afghanistan recently?
Yeah, I was there in September.
So, not to, but aren't you gay?
Well, that's a complete Western conceptualization of same-sex attraction that doesn't exist in Afghanistan. So, I did not suck or fuck while in Afghanistan, to answer your question.
Okay.
You flipped on the hetero switch during your tenure in Afghanistan?
Sorry, you broke up if you said something. I didn't hear you.
I said you became straight for a couple of days while you were there?
No, there's just no such thing as gay or straight. Those are liberal modern conceptions that I don't ascribe to.
True.
Okay, wait.
How was your trip, Basil?
Say you are like a sodomite in Afghanistan. Are there any repercussions for that? This is a real question.
Sodomy is a crime. Sodomy is a crime, and it is against the law to engage in sodomy. Yeah. So I had a great time in Afghanistan. It was alhamdulillah, it was a wonderful experience. It was my first time ever there. I was born and raised in the West. But after last August, I saw that there was an opportunity to go to Afghanistan because the war was over. So I made plans slowly but surely, and then went in September.
Why did you go there?
Because I'm Afghan. So it was an opportunity to see a country that was never presented to me prior because there was an occupation and therefore a resistance to that occupation. So as soon as the occupation ended, there was no two sides to a war. So the war was over, so you could safely travel around the country. Alhamdulillah, I was lucky enough to be able to travel from Kabul to Mazar-e-Sharif. I was able to stop in Khinjan. It was cool.
So did you have family there? Did you stay with them?
Yeah, I stayed with a cousin, an aunt, and my cousins on my mom's side, who I never met before. They had never left Afghanistan. It was the first time meeting them. It was a wonderful experience for all of us. It was like a little reunion.
Wait, so what is your route to travel into Afghanistan? How does that work?
Well, it was actually tricky because I tried to get a visa through the New York consulate, but most consulates in the world are still, or when they were still being administered, were being administered by the previous puppet regime. So they were really hesitant to give out visas to people like me. The consulate in Ottawa flat out said he would never give one. So I had to reach out to a consulate that was being run by the current government. So that basically leaves you with Turkey, Qatar, Dubai, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, I believe. There's a handful. So basically, went to Dubai and got a visa.
Okay, I was gonna say. So if say me as a white American who speaks no other language, want to travel to Afghanistan, there's a U.S. passport. It's just you have to fly into a neighboring country and then travel through car or what?
No, you could fly directly into Kabul. You just need to get a visa in either Istanbul, Qatar, or Dubai. But the thing is, if you want to travel to Afghanistan, I'd highly suggest reaching out to a travel agency beforehand so they can provide you with a car with special plates that get you through checkpoints more easily, with a translator, with whatever. If you don't have family or someone personally there, I would highly, highly suggest it. Because the most jarring aspect for me as an American was the checkpoints. I'm not used to having checkpoints throughout the city or whatever. And during the day, it's really just a formality. They wave you through. But at night, if you want to travel, for example, when we went to Mazar-e-Sharif, we left at 3 a.m. It's you're going through 8 checkpoints and Taliban are going to ask you to your face, where are you coming from? Where are you going? Why are you leaving at 3 a.m? So to have those special plates from a travel agency really helps.
Do you answer them in English or you do it in Dari or whatever?
I speak Farsi fluently, but the thing is...
that's man.
Yeah. But the thing is, most of them will speak amongst each other in Pashto, and I don't speak Pashto in Afghan spaces. I'm notoriously bad for accidentally saying I don't fuck Pashto instead of I don't speak Pashto, because those two words are very similar in Pashto. I just avoided Pashto altogether. But they understand. I actually, if you look on my profile, I could put it on the Jumbotron. I went to the Hotel Intercontinental and like spent the afternoon swimming with like 3 Taliban members and had a really cool conversation with them. And they were very curious about America. Like, it was awesome. They're very nice people, and they deserve our respect if you hate the left, because they fought the international arm of the same thing that we're fighting here domestically. The coalition between finance, defense,
100%.
Yeah, the coalition between finance, defense, pharma, and big tech is oppressing us domestically, and that is the arm that supports NATO that has been occupying Afghanistan for the past 20 years that they just, alhamdulillah, smashed in their fucking face.
Alhamdulillah.
I just want to say this is such a great Twitter space. I feel like I found my people. Like, how are all these people on the same page on so many topics as me?
We've got Taliban, we've got MAGA conservatives, we've got tankies, we've got MAGA communists, all in the same space against wokeism. Okay, that's
wait. Who's the tanky?
Sameera.
Sameera's not a tanky.
Syrian and Sameera, basically. An anti-left yet unreported.
Syrian's not a tanky.
She's a MAGA Talibanist.
I lean right. I'm more nationalist.
Yeah, she's not a tanky.
Sameera, are you based in the US or like Dubai?
No. Yeah, I'm based in the US.
Not for long. She's going to get deported.
Although
after this Twitter space with all these tallies, it's very strong possibility.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. But yeah, we do have some tankies in the space. Yeah, we have a lot of tankies in the space. MAGA communists, Talibros, Top T's. Who else?
I think it was nice to hear like
non-Afghans who might be in the space or who are in the space. Non-Afghan Americans, the correct position is to normalize relations with the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan in order to aid them in development and not stymie them in their development, and not use CIA talking points about women and girls and things like that in order to hamstring normalizing relations with them. All you do is harm normal Afghans, and there's no alternative to the Islamic Emirate at this moment. So
precisely,
that's really
well said.
And honestly, and also ignore any type of Afghan that talks about, like Sameera said, Northern Resistance, has that type of pine-shared flag. Ignore those people. Those are NATO useful idiots. They're all connected to the Council on Foreign Relations. They're all connected to the NED, all that type of stuff.
I want to know why Basil unfollowed me.
You remember, you know exactly who I am.
Of course, we used to have spaces together. I don't know what happened.
I know.
You must have soft blocked me or something. What happened?
No, this is my original account.
Exactly. You must have soft blocked me. So what's the deal?
Thanks to Daddy Elon.
He refollowed me, so maybe he unfollowed me as well.
No,
well, guys.
What was the reason?
All I'm gonna say, in the spaces you're gonna get Afghans.
No, stop! I want to know the reason.
That's
great. Basil, why'd you unfollow? Basil.
Jawab nate, Basil.
Basil, why'd you unfollow?
Oops, he's gone.
Oh no, sorry, no, I was muted. Yeah, no, the reason is that at a certain moment in time, the people who were nice to me on this website were feuding with people that you were cool with on this website.
Like who?
Like all of AF and Dark MAGA and all them, and then Luca. It was during that Luca, I don't want to get into it. It's going to be a distraction.
Gotcha.
So let's not personalize it. I have nothing against you, Nuance.
Interesting.
So any other questions, guys, from Taliban, because they have work to do?
Thank you so much for joining.
If I go to Afghanistan, will someone in this room, one of these Taliban, hang out with me and show me the ropes?
He'll get high ransoms, we promise.
We can do a full Vice-style documentary showing this side of the Tallies.
چی گفتن که برای ما چیز کنن؟
میگه ما افغانستان رو ما کمک میکنی به حساب.
به حساب تفریح اگه میای یا اگه به خاطر جاسی میای والا گونموج زندان بگیری. این فکرم نکن.
تشکر از حضور شده شما.
Wow, good job, Drake. So he said, if you're coming for fun and sightseeing, sure. If you're one of those undercover cops or agents, oh hell no.
Yeah, Taylor, they're gonna cut you.
Well, okay, let's put it this way: the U.S. government already calls me a terrorist.
Yeah, that's what a convenient cover. Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with
All right. I feel bad.
It's almost like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I was in prison. Yeah, I'm just like one of you guys." When he's actually an undercover cop.
Irania is a no list. 1 second. Taylor said که مرا امریکایا در لیست تروریستا انداخته و مرا منصور.
چنداخته کو بگو کلگی خانوادی تی که پول خود نمیل داری خانوادی کلگی بیاره نمیجا پاسپورت افغانیم برات
میتونم. He says forget about America. Come here, bring all your family. Life is good here.
I'll be there
what's
soon.
their relation? What are their thoughts on Iranians and just Iran in general?
مگه در ایرانیا چی فکر میکنی؟
یعنی در سیاست ایرانی یا در مذهب ایرانی؟
Politics or religion, which one? They're so specific. I love this guy.
The people of Iran, like, do people from Iran visit? What are your thoughts on people of Iran?
عوامش مردم خوب مردم داره، لیکن سیاستش تغییر میکنن. چرا که ایران هرچی که باشه می خمینی که وقتی چیز برای جور کردن، نظام برای جور کردن که هر جمهور دراسش بیایه سیاستش بدل نمیشه. چیزی سیاست که داره که ما شما نمیاله میبینیم در سوریه و در عراق در نمیجای سیاست ایران اصلا بریتانیا و عربی تغییر نمیکنه.
So family?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you said the people are so nice, but the politics is not going to change. It's always going to be the politics of Khomeini, all right? So it is a little bit of up and down and all that.
Okay, that's what I figured.
What a world, right? You guys are talking with Taliban. Remember 20 years ago? We heard about this group. They're behind the mountains. They're going to destroy us. They did the 9/11 in America. Chaos.
Actually, Meena,
I
do have a question.
I was with them against the invasion, but all the way back then. Just on record.
I'm just going to say, Warrior's new profile pic with that American gear is amazing.
So Meena,
that's awesome.
Dude, I'm trying so fast to translate all of you. Okay. Syrian گفت دخترک سوریایی است. Let me introduce you Syrian. Syrian girl که از سوریه است و همیشه صدای خیلی بلند کرده و بسیار حقایق پلتفرم خود استفاده کرده که مردم آگاه شود. So I basically said that you're raising your voice against corruptions and you're talking about your country and all that. So you guys battle is the same battle. Their battle. Nothing different. They're more like a 10 step ahead because they have the power groups all together as a community, right? We people in the West, we're trying to like raise our voices. We're like just one here, one the other place, one another place, right? Once the West and East connect, trust me, guys, no differences. Our enemy is the same enemy, same guy. We're all in the same boat.
Meena, when was the last time you went to Afghanistan?
2008.
Okay. Do you plan on going again soon?
Well, I got invited by Ashraf Ghani because I'm an artist. They wanted to like do an exhibition and all that in the name of women's rights movement, but I basically rejected because I knew they were corruptions. So I just didn't want to do anything with the last 20 years. But now I'm excited. I'm trying to bring in Taliban into art. So that's my plan.
Well, me to ask that actually. I mean, is there a recognition of how over the shift that's happened in the United States, where you have the people who supported going to war in Afghanistan now more empathetic towards the goals that we're talking about, and now we have the left who was more, let's say, anti-invasion at the time in 2000s. Now they're sort of like the enemy. I mean, is that recognized the same way?
Let me give Islam Paul to answer you. Islam Paul jawab shubte because he was there and all that.
I didn't get it. Meena, sorry, I was busy. What did he say?
Can you repeat, Drake? Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
My question was, how is it, from your perspective, how is it that do you recognize the same shift that we've seen in America where, let's say from the 2000s decade, you've had the same people who are, let's just say, generally more supportive of invading Afghanistan, and the people who are against it at the time sort of just swap places in the last 20 years. Do you recognize the same shift? Do you notice it? Do you agree with it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely. Like with the Americans, we don't have any issue with public, to be honest. They are good people. But with the government, to be honest, they are bad. They are very bad. They are controlled by Zionists. With the people, with Americans, to be honest, trust me, we don't have any issue. Like
what Nuance was saying is that the leftist people in the U.S.
Feminists.
They were more they were more anti-war, and now the leftist people have become pro-war, and the right-wing people who were kind of the neocons who started the war in the first place. Look at my Twitter profile picture. Now they've become anti-war. So like the right has become anti-war and the left has become pro-war. So are you guys aware of any of those dynamics in in Afghanistan, or you're too busy with all the stuff you have to do to keep on top of?
By the way, Raphael, well phrased,
Raphael. Rare in Afghanistan, by the way. A lot of people got out and they're more democracy, liberation, women's rights movement, feminist activists, blah, 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 blah. Many, unfortunately.
By the way, look in the Jumbotron. Look at Kabul, Afghanistan right now with all that snow. Looks beautiful.
I want to go so bad.
It's incredible.
That is by far the first place I'm going when I get my passport.
But I want to know the answer to the question, though, just not to derail.
Go ahead, Basil. Basil can answer you too. Sorry. My hands are a little busy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that I just wanted to make a correction, is that at the time of 2003, 2001, the invasion of Afghanistan, the left was not really against the invasion. The left was very much on board for the invasion.
True.
You know, even it got to the point where Iraq was, you were okay to admit regret about Iraq, but not about Afghanistan. Afghanistan was meant to be the good one because the framing of it was that we were going after Osama bin Laden. To get to your question, I would say that think about it in a very practical sense. How many lower level just government employees or armed guards around military bases have really a nuanced understanding of what's happening in even Canada, our closest neighbor, let alone a country on the other side of the planet?
That's true.
The leadership very much are sophisticated. They understand that they're running a country, that they have to engage in international relations. But when you're talking about just a normal Taliban official or a guy who's at a checkpoint or whatever, they don't really care. I mean, it's not really, they know that, the people who came for the past 20 years were the people who wanted to, quote unquote, liberate their women and teach them gender studies and stuff like that. So they have that understanding that if you're talking about women, if you're talking about, quote unquote, human rights, quote unquote, women's rights, quote unquote, gay rights, then you're probably their enemy.
So I guess a better way to phrase it simply would be, is there an understanding over there that America is a divided, dynamic, sort of opinionated country with, does that make sense?
I think the people that would care about that distinction all fled since August. The people who would actually care about that distinction are people who were liberals themselves, who were collaborationists with the occupation, who had close relations with the NGO complex, who viewed these people as genuinely believing these things that they were trying to sell us.
So if I believe,
I want to bring up,
I heard it right. Sorry, Nuance. Paul, I don't know what his real name is. Said earlier that they're perfectly fine with Americans and they understand the sort of semi-divide going on.
Right. Yeah.
So we have Shahab Lawal up here, member of the Cultural Commission of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Is that legit? Is that real?
Legit, dude. Shahab John, khosh amadi. It's so sad. Every time they go to an anti-Taliban Afghan group, they kick them out. Nobody wants to hear them. A lot of democracy, jamhuriyat and all that. It's so sad. They have so much to say, and all the time when they see Western, they're like, we're not terrorists. We never attack your homes. We never attack 9/11. They just want to say that. They just want to the world to hear them out.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Sameera.
Of course. And they are welcome in my spaces all the time. And I have these spaces very often. And I do talk about Afghanistan. I even had an admitted MI5 agent talking crap about the Taliban before. And
MI5
so همیشه support کرده دوستا همیشه طالبان رو support کرده Sameera John always I've seen and Syrian girl they're the women they're the girls that see through the bullshit of CIA and NATO and Zionist and Mossad all that so they see through it. You guys should give them a follow and support these women because it's really hard because we're lonely honestly a lot of majority of population of women they're against us so they don't know what we're talking about. It's so sad.
Thank you so much. They're welcome anytime. But
thanks, guys.
I followed all the
welcome
in here.
Top teas.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I'm an independent listener. You know, I don't want to go in with any presumptions. You know, I appreciate you just coming in to talk for sure.
For all the feds in this place, please don't put me on your list.
Dude, you just need to embrace it at this point. You just got to embrace it. The government hates you anyways. They want you dead. Just embrace it. You're going to be put on the list.
I don't want to die.
Look. If we support Trump...
Please do not Andrew Tate me. I am not top G. I don't have those kind of balls.
I'm doing this strictly from I want to do documentaries. I want to gather.
I don't have a Bugatti, okay, guys?
I got a couple of Ferraris, but I ain't no Andrew Tate. I don't want to get listed or
stories. I'm a storyteller. I want to film videos.
Dude, but realistically, how sweet would it be? Like a long form, multi-part docu-series with the Taliban, them telling their story.
Exactly.
That's the dream right there.
Yeah.
No, none of this.
Amazing. Just don't sell it to Vice.
Guys, Mr. Mansour wants to speak. So Meena, you can handle that?
آقای عمر منصور بفرمایید.
مینا خو هر تو از ببخشید تو از بپرس که شما خو نموجه در غرب هستین نمی سیاست غرب برای شما معلوم هستن به شمول افغانستان در کشورهای آسیایی چی رقم وحشت هستن اینجا چی که ظلم هستن نمی که مردم کشته میشه و اشتکا کشته میشه یا چرا صدای خود بلند نمیکنه مثل همین جوانا که هستن امریکا خود چند تا ایالت داره یعنی چند تعداد هم اسپیس نمی مردم جمع شدن که اینجا آمدن حالی بیدار شدن چرا نمی مردم در مقابل نمی سیاست غرب صدای خود بلند نمیکنه چرا نمیل تو سعی کنیم یک سوال از پیش کو ما در افغانستان مسلمان هستیم فرهنگ داریم فقط نمی یک حرف برای افغانا میزنه که شما حقوق زن نمیتین یعنی اینو میا چی رقم حقوق زن خود داده که چیزی فحشی بودن که در افغانستان برای ما آوردن اینو می خب فرهنگ افغانستان قبول نمیکنه تو براش بگو.
So he basically said that you guys are aware and awake, you know what's going on in the West. Why don't you guys do something about it? And you know that about the women's rights movement, they don't care about women. Look what they tried to bring in Afghanistan. If they care about women's rights movement, for example, I'm adding this whole pornography and child pornography stuff. Let's keep going and America is making money out of it, right? So he's like, why don't you guys do something? You guys know what's going on. It's not good for our future, right?
If you can translate this, I have been trying to raise awareness on the true policies of the Taliban for years now. I've been posting videos regarding, their history on women's rights and that they're not against women's education. They actually defend it. But back in the 90s, it was because of all of the Civil War stuff going on that they temporarily did that ban. But they're not inherently against women's education. That is, totally false. And we know that that's what's going on right now. We know that it's temporary, but this is what the media does. The media wants us to have a negative impression of the Taliban, that they, oppress women. And it's journalists, leftist journalists especially, that have allowed this myth to persist for this long. They haven't corrected it because they don't have the courage to. Right? Because of the feminists and leftists on their back. Even these so-called anti-imperialist journalists. And I've had this with them for a while, but you can translate that for.
Thank you so much. So میگم ما میفهمی آقای عمر منصور میگم من شخصا خودم کوشش کردم اما صدای ما بلند کنم و ما دست میفهم که از زمان 20 سال پیشم که آمدن به ضد زن نیستن یا به خاطر اینمی چیزا هستن که حق زن میگن زنا رو خراب کردن و ما براتون میگم که ما همیشه سپورتتون کردیم و تا جایی که میتونیم صدای خود بلند میکنم. آقای عمر Barial, you can come up please. Oh, that's another big talib by the way.
Hey, Nuance, really quick, pin my the drag shit that I did. I want to see what the Taliban think about that.
Just make sure they don't get confused that you're like...
No, the exact opposite. Trying to expose it.
Yo, yeah, Taliban, if you're listening, Taylor loves drag shows with children.
I'm not gonna say that they take it seriously, man.
مینا خواهر ببخشید شهاب لیوالس به نمیجا هستن شاید سوال داشته باشه سوال خواست پیشش که سوال خود مطرح کنن که چی نظر دارن
سلام شهاب خوش آمدین آقای شهاب
سلامت باشین خرسند هستم که از طریق اسپیس با شما و غیر افغان ها هم کلام هستم و من حیث یک عضو از امارت اسلامی میخواستم همین اصول یا همین پالیسی خود را با کسانی که ما را از تریبیون غرب و امریکا و صهیونیست‌ها ما را شناختن با اینا شریک بکنیم که ما چیزی نیستیم که اینا ما را شناختن ما به خاطر اهداف خود جنگیدیم و به خاطر ارزش‌های اسلامی جنگیدیم من اگرچه انگلیسی من خوب نیست متاسفانه که سالهای زیاد میشه که از انگلیسی دور ماندیم اما کوشش میکنم یک کمی با اینا صحبت بکنه اگر غلطیایی بود با شما اصلاح بکنه درست است؟
ببخشید برادر خالی ما یک گپ بزنیم من خواهر اینمی شخص که اینجا حرف میزنن که ما باید معرفی کنیم اینمی شخص یعنی چیزی حرفا که میزنه پشت پرده نیست واقعیت که از می آدرس امارات گپ میزنه که متوجه باشی
Okay, so Omar Mansour confirmed that he's Talib, and also he said that Shahab said that I just want to let you guys know that we fought for our land and for ourselves, nothing else. Whatever West is trying to tell you guys about us for the last 20 years is all propaganda, nothing else. We just fought for our land and ourselves. That's it. We have our own policy, and I think he wants to share some of the policies. Okay, bear with me. Thank you. بفرمایید آقای شاه.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I want to tell you about that the Taliban policy we fought for Afghanistan. Yeah, we fought for the holy purpose of Islam. For our value and understanding and peace. Why did the world occupy our country? Why did America deprive us for 20 years from peace and progress of competition? Now that they have left our country, why are they depriving us for our universal rights? Please, you all are young people should be the voice of justice and right. Hijab and the right of women and not these are our religious principles. Please respect our religious principles. We are not savages, but we are defend as are not terrorists. Rather, we fought against terrorists. I cannot speak English very well, but you must be just. You have a responsible toward humanity. You should not be a victim of the goals of global colonizers. Islam is the religion of security and equality. Islam freeman from the shock of vice and the violence. Thanks, all the people of the world, they think about the Taliban we are terrorists, we are fight for our something they think, but they don't speak about the policy of America and why they occupy our country, why they are fight for 20 years, and what they want in our country, and what now they left our country. Why the people of the world, like the international law and other, why they are not speak our society of Afghanistan, our our other problem in Afghanistan. And all that in past 20 years, which Afghan make problems to other country, to other people of a country. Now they think about the Taliban is terrorist, the Taliban is like other things. مینا خواهر در کل البته من انگلیسی ما بسیار خوب نیست البته نمیتونم بسیار خوب صحبت بکنم.
You did great.
اینا باید بفهمن همین کسانی که از سراسر دنیا در اسپیس با ما هم صحبت هستن. ببینین در مدت 20 سال گذشته، قبل از 20 سال گذشته، کدام افغان در کدام ببینین در هر جای دنیا افغان ها هست. ما مهاجرین در هر جای دنیا داریم. آیا در 20 سال غیر که ما در افغانستان جنگ داشتیم، آیا یک افغان ما در غیر افغانستان بر یک غیر افغان مشکل ساخت؟ نساخت. آیا یک افغان ما در مقابل صلح جهانی دست بلند کرد یا مشکلی به جهان ساخت؟ نساخت. آیا بمب اتمی اینا جور میکنن، بمب های هسته‌ای و خوشه‌ای و نیتروژنی اینا جور میکنن. اینها در 20 سال گذشته در افغانستان مظالمی را انجام دادن. اگر اینها ببینین، اینها در هالیوود، ویدیوهایی که در هالیوود جور میکنن، فیلم هایی که جور میکنن، اینا خودشان در سینماها ویدیوها را دیدن نمیتونن چون وحشت مصنوعی است. اما این وحشت ها را در افغانستانی اینا عملا بالای افغان ها انجام دادن. ما را از درس، تعلیم، صلح، امنیت، اخوت، از برابری، از هر چی ما را محروم کردن. اینا برای
کوتاه که یادم نره. خب
شما براشان ترجمه بکن.
ببخشید خواهر مینا فقط یک به شهاب صاحب یک گپ میزنیم. شهاب صاحب محترم ما را قطع تو پالوکو که باز شخصی موضوع یک چیز مسائل باز گپ بزنیم.
Okay, so basically Shahab said that, you know, like these people, whatever you see in movies, they tried everything on our country. They basically take our education from us. They took everything we had. Do you have any Afghan who created
for 20
bombs?
years he's talking about?
Yes. Do you have any Afghan who tried to bomb another country? Do you have any Afghan who tried to invade another country? Do you have any Afghan who have done what US and all these NATO who are trying to do in all these Islamic countries? They like basically become awake to your enemy. Who do you think your enemy is? Who do you think our enemy is? So he actually did really good. His English was good. Good job, Allah Shahab. Thank you. His English was excellent.
گپ مهمتری که ببینین امریکا خود متحدینشان رفتن افغانستان رو رها کردن، به حال خودش رها کردن، چنانکه که اینا ادعا داشتن ما جمهوریت دموکراسی را در افغانستان نهادی نمی‌کنیم. آیا میشود ببینین اینایی که مثلا شاید مسلمان بیشترشون مسلمان نیست، اینا از اسلام آگاهی ندارن، اینا رو ما میتونیم به زور بالایشون اسلام قبول بکنیم؟ نه خیر، به هیچ صورت.
Even Afghans that wants democracy and all that in Afghanistan, do you think we can force them to become Muslim? He said, no, we don't want to do that. We can't do that. But this is what US did to our adults' minds. And a lot of population and generation, they want democracy. They think it's liberal democracy, women's movement. They basically, our own people now become our own enemy. It's so crazy how indoctrination works, right? تشکر آقای شاب، زنده باشید. چون دستاست اینجا آقای عمر بریال is also a Talib, big Talib, so if anybody have talk, go ahead. Welcome آقای بر. Do you speak English نه؟
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. متاسفانه زه په انګلیسي ژبه باندې نه پوهیږم.
زما پښتو ښه نه ده. اسلام پال can translate.
شما داری صحبت بکنین، ما پښتو درست است؟
ما پشتو یاد ندارم. خب
شما داری صحبت بکنین.
بریال سه محترم سلام علیکم. ډیره بخښنه غواړم. فقط په فارسی باندې ورته وغږیږه چې ورته ترجمه یې کړي دا او بیا ان شاء الله په خبر ورسره پیږي.
دری ژبه باندې خو زه کاملا تسلط ندارم. ما به زبان داری تسلط نداریم. شاید حرفای ما
اسلام پال ترنسلیت میکنم. پشتو بگوین.
صحیح. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. ټول وړاندې تاسو ټول محترم ګډونوالو ته سلامونه او احترامات وایم. هیله درو جوړه او خوشاله بیاست. اول خو یو مننه کوم چې موږ له غربي نړۍ له ګډونوالو سره یا غیر افغانانو سره داسې مشترک سپیسونه ولرو، خبرې ولرو، ترڅو یو بل سره تفاهم ته ورسېږو. دغه سپیسونو ګټه دا ده چې موږ یو بل درک کړو، ارزښتونه یې وپېژنو. په افغانستان کې اوس یو وضعیت واکمن دی چې دوی له هغه واقعي وضعیت څخه نه دي خبر. دا زموږ مسؤلیت دی چې په ګډه راسو دغه سپیسو کې دوی د افغانستان له واقعي انځور څخه خبر کړو. د رسنیو خبر مطرح کاري متاسفانه دوی ته باید دا وویل چې په افغانستان کې اوس وضعیت واکمن دی، اما د تیرو شلو کلونو څخه دا وضعیت متفاوت دی. دلته ارزښتونه خوندي دي، حقوق خوندي دي. هغه کمی نیمګړتیاوې چې په تیرو شلو کلونو کې واکمنې وي هغه ډېرې سطحي دي. اوس خبره دا ده چې زموږ پیغام دغو ګډونوالو ته دا دی چې افغانستان ته د غربي رسنیو له انځور څخه مه ګورئ. افغانستان د افغانانو له خولې څخه واورئ. په افغانستان کې اوسنی وضعیت د افغانانو له خولې څخه ځان ته راکړئ. نو زه ستاسو په اوسنۍ موضوع هم نه یم خبر. تاسو یو ځل دغه موضوع را تشریح کړئ چې بحث مو پر چی دی، اسم پر چی جور کړی دی. بعدا ما همراهتان صحبت می‌کنیم. می داشته باشید.
Thank you so much, آقای عمر. I don't think Islam policy.
مینا خواهر که ما با پشتو برش ترجمهش کنیم که بگویم ما میفهمیم که تو پشتو نمیفهمیم.
We gotta translate one language to another and then deliver it to you guys. Wow. Good.
مینا خواهر که از دوست ما نمیخو میشناسیم، ما خو برات گفتیم که از درس امارات هستن که گپ میزنن اینجا پشت پرده نیستن.
آقای عمر میشناسم. چی گفتن آقای عمر؟
یا میگن که وقتی ما خوش هستیم سر نمیگا پاک نمیجا قط جهانیان یک سپیس داشته باشیم، وقتی که ما و شما گپ میزنیم با جهانیان، باید از این سپیس ما باید گپ بزنیم که مفید است یا نه. وقتی که مفید باشه، انمیل سوال کردن گفتن آقای بریال که وقتی شما سر چی گپ میزنین که سر همین چیز سر مفهومی همین چیز گپ بزنیم که مطرح کنیم این گپ.
Okay, he asked me like what are you guys talking about and all that. So آقای عمر ما فقط اینا علاقه داشتن میخواستن مفهوم ما یگان طالبا هستن و میشن در سپیس های می کار بحث میکنم و کوشش میکنیم بفهمیم حقیقت چیست اینان. بازیا خوش گفت چرا نمیخوای طالبا بیایم ما میخوایم امرشون گپ بزنیم سوالایی داریم. ما هم طالبا رو گفتم بعد که میتونه پشت ما میجه ششته بودم تا بیاین بالا گپ بزنیم.
خب تشکر. میشنویم از اینا درباره طالبان چی تعریف داره، درباره وضعیت افغانستان کدام سوال و اعتراض داشته باشه میتونیم با هم صحبت بکنیم تا یک سوء تفاهم که وجود است از بین برود. اینا بفرمایید شما.
He wants to know what you guys think about Taliban. Any question, anything that you have doubts, anything?
ما میخوایم افغانستان بیایم، میخوایم بریم اونجا با طالبان حرف بزنیم، عکس بگیریم. ما از آمریکایی‌ها میتونیم این چیزا رو بکنیم؟
بله بله. زه یو خبره کوم ګورئ په افغانستان کې دوه تعریفونه موجود و. تیر شل کال چې افغانستان د بهرنیان راغلي و هغه د اشغال په نیت راغلي و. هدف دا و چې دلته زموږ وطن اشغال کې، جغرافیا مو اشغال کې، ارزښتونه مو اشغال کې، دین مو اشغال کې، اسلام مو اشغال کې. اما موږ په هغه صورت کې چې یو بهرنی افغانستان ته راځي، خاور مو اشغالوي، وطن مو اشغالوي، په هیڅ صورت اجازه نه ورکوو. دا چې ته د یو ګرځندوی په حیث راځي، د تفریح په حیث راځي، د چکر په حیث راځي، کاملا ته اجازه ده. ته به د افغانستان پاسپورت راځي، زموږ ټولو ارزښتونو ته به احترام کوي، زموږ اسلام ته به احترام کوي، ستا به موږ کاملا میلمه پالنه کوو، احترام به دې کوو. ته کولی چې د افغانستان هرې برخې ته مسؤله فضا کې لاړ شي. تیر شل کاله ځکه اوس متفاوت دي، ګرځندوی اشخاصو لپاره یو امنیت واکمن دی، هیڅ نه تهدید د دوی ژوند ته نشته دی، هیڅ نه باش د دوی ژوند ته نشته دی. شما میتونین با افغانستان سفر بکنین. هدف ما این بود که 20 سال که اشغالچی بحرانیا در افغانستان حضور داشت، هدفش اشغال بود، هدفش بود که ارزش‌های ما مردم زیر پای گذاشته بود، اسلام ما را زیر پای گذاشته بود، تا از همه چیز مهمتری بود که استقلال ما مردم از ما گرفته بود. شما میتونین به حیث یک سیاح دهنده افغانستان بیاین، چکر بزنین، امنیت شما به گردن ما مردم است. ما با شما هیچ مشکلی نداریم، ولی مشکل ما دونموس چی بود که شما به حیث یک نیروی نظامی وارد افغانستان شده بودید. تشکر.
We have no issue. You guys are all welcome as long as you respect us, respect our values.
I really didn't. I understood like virtually none of that, but that was crazy.
That was Pashto, by the way, guys.
Yeah, that's why I was like, so how did you understand that? Like, that's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Can you translate the question too? Because the question was.
Yeah, my question was basically, as Americans, we want to travel to Afghanistan, film, take pictures, hang out, all that stuff. Would we be allowed to? And he basically said, yeah. Aghay Omar, agar mituni man follow کنی رو توییتر، میخوام هر وقت اونجا بیام با شماها حرف بزنم، عکس بگیرم، همین از این چیزاست. اگر میتونید منو فالو کنید.
فالو کردیم. الان سوال کنید شما میتونید افغانستان سفر بکنید، ولی هدف ما مردم از سفری بهرانیایی است که باید به ارزش‌های ما مردم احترام داشته باشه. مسئله ارزش‌ها است، مسئله جغرافیا است، مسئله حجاب است، مسئله بفرمایید.
حتما.
Yeah, respect our values, and you have to, you know, like don't come like try to troll with all non-hijab and all that. And he doesn't mean by burqa and all that. It's just like, you know, respect. Which, like, if you go to Makkah and Hajj, right? You're not gonna wear short skirt.
It's like
just
Iran.
Mannerism.
Well, Iran, you have to, wear
exactly.
What is the correct attire for like a man that's traveling? Like, say me as a journalist, what would be the correct attire for me to wear out there, if there is any?
میگم من ژورنالیست هستم که بهم چی باید بفهم، چی کدام مشکل نمی باشه. تیلر یک ژورنالیست است، خبرنگار است.
زه یو خبره کوم د ژورنالیستانو په اړه. ژورنالیستان آزاد طبقه د دوی باید ارزښتونه چې یو ژورنالیست لري هغه باید تر شو لاندې نه کی. متاسفانه چې د امریکا په موجودیت کې په افغانستان کې تیر شل کال ټول ژورنالیستیک ارزښتونه تر شو لاندې سوي و. واقعیتونه تحریف سوي دي. د افغانستان جغرافیه، د افغانستان فضا، د افغانستان اوسنی تصویر منفی نړیوالو ته معرفی کوي. ما با ژورنالیست‌ها هیچ نوع مشکلی نداریم. هدف از ژورنالیست خواست ما از ژورنالیست‌هاست که باید ارزش‌های ژورنالیستیک خود مراعات بکنه. در طی 20 سال در افغانستان ژورنالیست‌های موجود بود و واقعیت‌ها را بیان نمی‌کرد، اشغال چی نمی‌کرد. در افغانستان هم فضا را منفی تغییر میداد، مردمش منفی تغییر میداد. در وضعیت داسې تعریفوي چې په افغانستان کې صلح نشته، افغانستان کې انسانیت و احترام نشته، افغانستان کې بشري حقوق نشته. هدف دا دی موږ ژورنالیست احترام لرو، دوی حق لري چې راسي افغانستان ته. د افغانستان دغه اوسنۍ جغرافیه، د اوسنۍ حکومت هغه واقعیتونه بیان کی. موږ د ژورنالیستانو ټول اصول او احترام لرو. دوی هم خاص دادی چې منفیګرای دي نه کوي. هغه واقعیتونه چې په افغانستان کې موجود دي هغه د نړیوالو ته وشي. که په افغانستان اوسنی حکومت باندې نیوکه لري، نیوکه باید د اصلاح په نیت وي، نه د تخریب، دشمنی او هغه باندې. ټول ژورنالیستان حق لري چې افغانستان ته راسي. اما پښتنه مهرباني.
تشکر باش آقای من کوتاه که باز من یادم میره زیاد است. Taylor, he basically said that we respect all the journalists but you have to
مینا جان یک صحبت برای برادر ما بگو. دمیته 20 سال ژورنالیست‌ها در افغانستان منفی‌گرایی کرده. هر ژورنالیستی که واقعیت‌ها را بیان میکنه حق داره در افغانستان سفر بکنه. بفرمایید.
Okay, so he said we respect all journalists, you can come, but if you're trying to create propaganda and all that, we're watching you. Because in the past 20 years, that's what they did against us. They never said, yes, US invaded Afghanistan and all that, but they actually went and keep saying like, oh, Taliban, terrorist attack, blah, 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 blah. So you got to respect that because now this is our area now, okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the exact opposite of what I would do. I mean, I'm very, very vocal against the U.S. government and the sodomy and everything taking place here.
What about
Okay, let me tell him. میگه که ما به ضد سیستم چیز امریکا هستم و خصوصا همین بچه بازی و قوم لوط چیزا رو اشاره داد. و من به ضد چیز هستم. Sorry, I gotta say it that way.
Yeah, we have a huge بچه بازی problem in America.
Huge بچه بازی ها. گمش کن. And also, can you please...
Specific reporting is all بچه بازی.
A lot of بچه بازی. Yeah, it's bad, guys. Don't go there. They're gonna hang you. Guys, can you please act like Ahmed? I need him. His special is really good.
Like, do we need like special permits as journalists if we go there to like film and stuff, or what's the deal?
Can you repeat, please?
Do we need special permits?
وارمینا ببخشید نمیگم مولیس بازغر هم آماده کاری سے بریالم هستن. وقتی که میکر روزا ما شما گپ زدیم به حساب برنال میگه چی میگن که می پالیسیش هستن. این مردم اینو فکر میکردن همی که وقت همی طالبان خواب هستن اصلا همی سیاست جهانی را بلد نیستن. هر وقت اینمی مردم میاین میتونن که می دوستای مجاهد ما اینجا هستن که از پالیسی جهانی نمیاره خبر کنن زیر چیز خبرنگارا که بودن زیر تبلیغات آمده بودن یا میتونن که تمام پالیسی دنیا را بین نامی ارائه کنن او بفهمن که طالبان چی رقم مغز و فکر به خاطر جهان دارد.
They're against Matrix. Very simple, guys. If I put it together, they're against a huge indoctrinated system. That's it. It's like running in each life, every part of your life. They're against it. And they're fighting with their heartbeat, with everything to not destroy their land, their faith, their values, their women, their future generation. And also, can you guys add Ahmad down there? Because I don't know. I can't even accept people.
Yeah, can you ask them about permits though? Like, do we need
میگه چی رقم permit نیاز داریم؟
For journalists.
یعنی پرمیت مثلا چی؟
کدام چیز دیگه ورق یک چیز کار داره بخاطر فیلم کردن، ویدیو کردن، شاید داکیومنتری اگه بخواین بسازن.
یعنی گوش کو چیزایی که هستن که ما شما عرض زدیم که تو یک روز گپ زدی که بوش ششته بوده یک جای در اتاق 5 دقیقه پیش که اونجا برید میشه سر امریکا. یعنی می چیزا که نمی مردم بلد هستن باید نمی را نشر کنن که نمی همه دروغ بودن. یعنی می چیزا را نشر کنن. اینمی مردم آگاه هستن از این چیزا. اینمی تبلیغات است که باید نشر کنه بفهمه دنیا که امریکا خصوصا غربی ها در مقابل اسلام در مقابل کشورهای اسلامی چی میکنن. اینمی چیزا ما از پیش میخوایم که نشر کنن.
So you're welcome. You can come. Nothing specific, but just tell the truth. Like, because that you're good to go. Just tell the truth, and you can just video, picture what's happening. People are normal. All is good. Whatever you see in the medias or all this liberals, democracy, blah blah blah, the whole runaway corruptions. They're trying to create a lot of propaganda. Women are being killed and raped. Oh my God, blood in the street. Blah blah blah. Kids are being sold. Oh, it's chaos.
I will say this, when you go through checkpoints with camera equipment and stuff like that, the actual checkpoint people don't know what it is and they might give you an issue. I had a Polaroid camera and a lot of the on the ground officers and stuff like that would be like, what is this? Is this like a device? Like, so things like that, you have to be like prepared for it, to be like, go through extra steps of explaining like, this is film equipment, I'm making whatever you're making.
I imagine if you had someone that's a part of the Taliban with you, it would probably make things a lot easier with your camera equipment.
Well, now you know them.
But yeah, I've followed.
Thank you for making this happen. That's awesome. I'm glad. This is the best space ever. Please thank them again for coming in.
Shout out.
بسیار تشکر از همه‌تان دوستان. طالب و تشکر از شما.
Hopefully the West
یا پیغام دوی دلارم.
learn from their mistakes.
ما یک پیغام داریم دنیا خیر.
باش آقای عمر این بچه را کدوم چیزی برات گفت. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Thank you. No, I was just going to say we really appreciate the ideology. I think the problem is that the West does not take its ancestral faith serious enough. So I think many of us have a deep respect for the organization of nations and societies around core religious values that are simply trying to uphold the nation's traditions and the things that make it great. I have a lot of appreciation for the opinions. Thank you very much.
میگم ما براتون بسیار احترام داریم. یعنی من حیث مرد که شما استاده شدین، جنگیدین به خاطر معنویاتتان، به خاطر چیزایی که براتون مهم بود، به خاطر دینتان، به خاطر مردایتان که زن نشد، زنایتان مرد نشد، به خاطر هم چیزایی که کوشش کرد. فهمیدی دیگه. Sorry, I had something. I said thank you so much for not making your man woman.
یک خواهش از پیشش کو براش بگوه که همین جوانا و زنای غرب که هستن که بیدار شدن از خواب، هر وقت شما سپیس جور میکردین برای ما پیام روان کنین که پیشی نمونه موجه که همین چیزای واقعیت دنیا هستن که نمیره کلگی.
خب باش آقای عمر، مثلا شما رو خدا من داده بر.
He said بیدار شدن از خواب, which means woke, but he means it in a good way, not a bad way.
He said every time you guys are making spaces, I am so happy to join. And please send me the link. That's what he said.
I just want to make a quick point about what Tali Bro just said about if you come here, they're against the matrix. They don't want indoctrination and change their way of life. And just as a thought experiment, let's say Andrew Tate was guilty of all the charges that he's alleged to have done. I think if he did not speak out against the matrix, tying back to what the gentleman here just said, I don't think he would have been prosecuted. Let's say he was completely guilty, just as a thought experiment. I don't think he would have been prosecuted. Just my opinion on it.
Well, no, you're right. Because I mean, the people that don't speak against the matrix and are engaging in human trafficking get put on private lists and get classified. So we already know how that works.
Yes, thank you. So I think Omar have to say his last words. Let's give him mic and then I'm going to translate. آقای عمر بفرمایید.
من نفهمیدیم اگر شما ترجمه کنید.
نه شما میخواستین چیز بگوید، نگفت ما میخواستید کلام چیز آخرین پیام برشان دارید.
پیغام زموږ له دوی ته دا دی چې تاسو هم ملامت نه یاستئ چون د افغانستان وضعیت تاسو ته منفی تعبیر راځي. ما از اینا یک خواهش داریم، ما و شما باید با هم هر روز در بین خود یک سپیس جور کنیم. اینمی تو یک ترجمان باشه، صحبت‌های شما را به ما مردم، صحبت‌های ما مردم با شما ترجمه بکنه تا بفهمیم که وضعیت افغانستان در چی حالت است، افغانستان در کدام سطح قرار دارد، اینجا وضعیت حقوق بشر در کدام صدد مجدد قرار داره. وضعیت افغانستان فعلی چه رقم است؟ خواهش ما از اینایی تو است که شما به از رسانه ها وضعیت افغانستان رو نبینید، بیاین با هم صحبت کنیم. شما سوال دارین جوابش بگیرین، شما اعتراض دارین جوابش بگیرین، تا بتانیم با هم صحبت بکنیم وضعیت افغانستان از منطقه‌گرایی طرف مثبت اشاره بدیم. یک خواهش ما از اینا میکنیم که هر وقت که شما کدام موضوعی در افغانستان میبینین، میتونید شما در اون موضوع سپیس جور کنین، ما میاییم با شما صحبت میکنیم، با شما صحبت میکنیم. اعتراض دارین، سوالی دارین، پرسشی دارین، هر چیزی دارین در افغانستان باشه. از طالبان کدام سوالی دارین، از طالبان کدام اعتراضی دارین، از تعریف حقوقی بشر کدام اعتراضی داشته باشین، مقایسه میکنیم که حقوق بشر در غرب چطور است، در افغانستان چطور است، حقوق بشر در جمهوریت در کدام سطح بود، فعلا در امارات در کدام سطح است، مقایسه میکنیم، تعریف میکنیم، بعداً طبقه بندی میکنیم. پشتن از موږ غوښتنه له دوی څخه دا ده چې تاسو کوم موضوع باندې اعتراضونه لرئ یا هم په هغه کې واکمنکاري، تاسو کولی شئ سپیسونه جوړ کړئ. موږ تاسو به په ګډه سره کولی شو د افغانستان په موضوعاتو بحثونه کوو. تاسو به له منطقګرایي څخه خلاص شئ، واقعیتونه به وګورئ. بله خبره دا ده چې د افغانستان وضعیت ته د رسنیو له انځور څخه مه ګورئ، له افغانانو وپوښتئ، افغانستان ته راسئ، سفر وکوئ چې په افغانستان کې اوسنی وضعیت څنګه واکمن دی، حقوق بشر څنګه دي، د ښځو مکاتب ولې بند شوي دي، پوهنتونونه ولې بند شوي دي، مختلف مسائل دي. نو پیغام ما را با اینا برسان. هر سوالی که اینا دارن از طریق رسانه ها جوابش نگیرن، از افغانا بپرسن، از طالبا بپرسن که وضعیت در افغانستان در کدام سطح هست. تشکر.
I'm going to try to translate. The basic gist was, we want to join your spaces. If you guys have any, questions about Afghanistan, you can get it from us. You can ask it from the Taliban and all that stuff, and we'll answer. We want to talk to you guys. We want to have a dialogue and bring people together and shit like that.
Good job. And if you need more information about the United Nations, about all these empires of thieves and corruptions, we're here to give any kind of information to you guys.
Maybe
Thank you
the most
so
evil
much.
group in the world.
Wait, can I just add one thing that he said at the end that didn't get translated? He
Go
said
ahead.
specifically to ask them, like to not, because it's something that Omar Mansood said earlier. It's like, why aren't you guys speaking out in the right way? It's because the people that get presented to us are not the people like the gentlemen who have spent their time with us tonight. We get the people who are
The Frontier Valley types.
Exactly. We get the liberals, sock puppets, the Afghan Greta Thunberg types who go on CNN and cry about women's rights. We don't get these brave men who fought for their country and fought for their religion. So,
تشکر Basil John. زنده باشی. Yes, Sameera knows. He knows. She knows. Everyone knows here. A lot of people knows what's up with all these ethnic war they're trying to push in Afghanistan because they need to take the land back. 20 years ago, they created 9/11. See?
Thank you so much. Please thank him again.
Mega تشکر باز هم از شما.
Thank you.
Cheers. Oh,
cheers,
maybe not cheers for you, but you
I said it. Cheers. Mega ba salamati.
Cheers. دوست ما اینجا هست اگه اجازه شما باشه. یک حرفی هستن که اینجا ما میشینیم و شما خیلی یکونیم و یک ما پوره شد که حرف میزنیم. احمد برادرم اینجا هستن، آگاه هستن، افغان ما هستن، برادر ما هستن، خوب فکرش کار میکنه، ما تعقیب کردیم. یعنی نمی رقم سپیسا اگه ما بگیریم بنشینیم میتونیم که نمیال همین مردم کلی که د سپیسا به خاطر مکتب به خاطر پانتون حرف میزنه. از آدرس امارات ما میتونیم که اینجا حرف بزنیم که برای جهانیان همی نصاب تعلیمی خود اینجا مؤسسات خود برای نشان بدیم از دان افغانان نه از دان رسانی.
Okay, Mega. Okay, so he said that we can give you and educate you and tell you the truth about education. All the other platform mainstream media, they're not telling you the truth about the education system, but they can provide you with information. Remember when I told you guys about Rockefeller Foundation, 1900, they changed the system. This is what they're fighting against. And some Afghans are awake. A lot of Afghans are awake in Afghanistan, and they've been fighting against that and indoctrination through books. Dude, they have been, there's a song by Pink Floyd, Another Break to the Wall. meaning like they have been creating. They never taught us. They're just indoctrinated us, and they said our children doesn't need our thoughts control, meaning MK Ultra. If you don't know about MK Ultra research, they're using it in a military system. They're using it in a religious system, by the way, Vatican religion, not the real Islam, Vatican Islam. And then they're using it through education system, which is very dangerous. And a lot of people are the victim of MK Ultra. Thank you.
Did he bring up MK Ultra, or did you?
Oh no, I added. They knows, but I added.
Okay. I would love to.
I got a question. میخوام بپرسم هیچ وقت شماها تفنگ از دارا ادمخیل خریدین تو پاکستان؟
نه گوش کن ما رو برات بزنیم. ما بسیار با 500 افغانی ما میتونستیم که از $10 لک یک دانه تانگ انفجار بدیم. ما یک بسیار اقتصادی جنگ کردیم ما در مقابل ناتو. تمام دنیا از این آگاه هستند. گوش کن اگر به دیگه برات بزنم. مینا برات بزنیم. میتونیم که از این طریق اسپیسا که چیزی واقعیتای وحشت 20 سال داخل افغانستان که زیر چتر اشغال شده بودن، مردم در جهان که آگاه هستند بیدار شدن، ما در گوشهشان برسانیم که چی کردن در حق مردم، در حق آسیا، در حق عربا، در حق داخل افغانستان. باید ما نمی اسپیس بگیریم. وقتی که میگه که از پاکستان چیزا را گرفتین، ما 20 سال به نام پنجابی کشته شدیم در اصل که یک دانه زندانی هم حکومت جمهوریت یک دانه داخل زندان نداشتن. یه همه تبلیغات هستند. باید ما از این ارتای و افغانا باید بین نمی برسه که واقعا چی هست.
مینا خورزه یا پشتن ما یک پرسش داریم از اینا. یک پرسش
in the name of Punjabi Pakistanis. So that's bullshit. So I'm going to tell you guys from now on what happened for the last 20 years. Every time I join your spaces, I'll tell you some real truths.
I'd like to just propose a toast to the collapse of the United Nations empire, the global evil empire.
ما یک پرسش از اینا داریم. اما کسی که سوال داشت گفت چرا از پاکستان شما اسلحه گرفتین یا نگرفتین. پرسش ما از اینا است، شما که سر طالبان اعتراض دارین که چرا از پاکستان اسلحه گرفتین. پرسش ما از اینا است که چرا به رهبری امریکا و ناتو 42 کشور به افغانستان حمله کردن. میشه پاسخش داد؟
He asked you, like, if you think we bought guns from Pakistan, what is your answer for 47, 48 countries that was using NATO against all these countries?
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, because I mean, the idea that, you know, there is an idea that Pakistan.
Wait, let me tell him. من نمیگم این bad هست. من میخوام بدونم اگر کردی یا نه.
تشکر. نه، اسلحه از پاکستان نیاوردیم. ما مردم به خاطر ارزش‌های خود، به خاطر جغرافیای خود، به خاطر وطن خود، به خاطر استقلال خود از گوشت و شیرین خود بم‌ها را دور داده طرف آمریکایی‌ها حمله کردیم. این چون حق مسلم ما مردم بود که باید اشغال از حواد ما مردم برچیده باشه، استقلال خود به دست بیاریم. این حق مسلم ما بود. امریکا که سر افغانستان حمله کرده بود، به کدام مشروعیت دنیا حمله کرده بود؟ چرا دنیا به خاک مظلوم افغانستان با امریکا اجازه داد که 20 سال اینجا حضور داشته باشه، مردم قتل بکنه، مدرسه ها را بمبار بکنه، مکاتب بمبار بکنه، تویی ها و آرزو ها را بمبار بکنه؟ اولین این پرسش که پاسخ داده باشه، باز ما میتونیم درباره اسلام آباد، پاکستان یا همکاری که شما اعتراض دارین که با طالبان داشته باشن، ما پاسخش برات میتیم. پرسش ما از امریکا، از دنیا اینمی است که چرا 42 کشور سر خاک افغانستان حمله کرده بود؟ با کدام مشروعیت جهانی؟ شما اگر کدام ماده درباره ملل متحد داشته باشین که مشروعیت اشغال افغانستان مشروعیت داشته باشد، باز ما میتونیم با شما چی کنیم. ولی باز ما از اینا خواهش داریم که ما شما باید با هم سپیس بسازیم تا وضعیت کنونی را از زبانهای خود ما شما بشنویم، نه از زبانهای رسانه‌های مغرض که کل روز تبلیغ میکنه.
Okay, so he basically said that we had the right to fight back and we used our own bodies to blow them up. And he said, like, you have to bring awareness and bring this question that what America had the right to bring 47, 48 countries to drop bombs and kill our people and invade our home and destroy our faith. You know, like they basically separated religion and education. That was their agenda. So they're against it. And they said, we need to bring this awareness, and you talk about bring us in our spaces and all that, so we can connect East and West, because this will awake a lot of Western people, you know?
I know. My question was just specifically about like where they were sourcing guns. Like, was it Dara Adam Khel, which is like right across, you know, in the tribal regions of
I mean, they
I want to go there.
out.
I want to go there. I want to do some like filming. I want to talk to the gun makers in the caves. I want to figure that shit out.
Yeah,
what did the
these are good
Taliban
questions.
think
You got to
of,
do it there, though.
What did
Because
the Taliban
here a
think
lot of
Victor Bout?
cuckoo ones sitting, and they're gonna make a fuss out of it.
No, Meena, I think that what we're doing is great. In fact, I'm getting a little emotional. But yeah, I think we're going
sending you hug.
If say if like when I go, because it's definitely a when. How would I go about being connected with a translator that is a part of the Taliban, so then it's easier for me to access the parts that I need?
میگه که ما یک ترنسلیشن میگیرم، کسی که مثلا ترجمه کنه انگلیسی و فارسی را از خود طالبان میشه کمک.
به خاطر چی؟ به خاطر ترنسلیت چی؟
Journalism.
Honest journalism.
که چیرې د افغانستان تشریف راوړي دلته موږ ترجمانان لرو، هغه به سره همکاري وکړي.
First you come and we have our translators and all that, and we will guide you.
Can you make sure to tell them that this is probably the best form of diplomacy versus the entire 100-year legacy of the United States and Western engagement?
I agree.
میگه کاری که شما کردین 100 سال کار امریکا کرده بهتر تر بود. درست گفتم نه؟ یک ذره مصروف شدم. میگه شما کاری که کردین 100 سال کار امریکا ایچ بود.
Can you ask them what's their plan with the education? Because of the media here, they're having a field day. If you just Google Taliban right now, it's all media.
We asked them this before. We asked them twice.
Education in Afghanistan and Mahsa Amini in Iran. What a game. میگه چی پلان دارین به خاطر مکتب؟
زبر دغه پښتانه په پښتو باندې جواب کوم. ګورئ اوسنۍ نړۍ د ټکنالوژي نړۍ د اوسنۍ نړۍ د تخنیک نړۍ د موږ تعلیم ته ضرورت لرو، اړتیا لرو، اما حساسیتونه په افغان ټولنه کې د غربي نړۍ سره متفاوت دي. دلته د تعلیم د بندش یوازینی علت دا و چې دلته مخلط تعلیم و. هیڅ افغان نه غواړي، یو اکثریت برخه نه غواړي چې د نامحرم اشخاص سره د ښځې په مکاتبو کې د نصاب مسله د تخنیکی موضوعات موجود دي. تر ټولو مهمه ترانسپورتي مسله ده. افغان ښځه چې بوهانتون او مکاتبو ته ځي هغه باید مسؤل وي، هغه فزیکی وجود د ګواښ نه وي موجود. تاسو د افغانستان ټولنه په امریکا متعریفوي، د افغانستان او امریکا، د افغانستان او د فرانسې، د افغانستان او د کاناډا د ټولنې ډیر غټ توپیر دی. دلته یو ټولنه مذهبي او مسلمانه ټولنه موجوده ده. دا ټول ارزښتونو ته به احترام وي، په نصاب کې به هم تغییر او تبديل راځي. دغه یو نصاب به موږ ټولنې ته وړاندې کوو چې هغه په راتلونکي کې داسې یو نسل موږ ته تربیه کړي چې هغه په ټولو ارزښتونو باور ولري. غربي اشغال سره په واټن کې واقع سي د افغانستان ټولو ارزښتونو او جغرافي خاورې او میلمنو ته چې بهر نه افغانستان ته راځي غوي ته احترام ولري. موږ په تعلیم باندې باور لرو. زه مطمئن یم چې تر راتلونکي پسرلي باندې به دغه د نصاب او د تعلیم برخلیک هم معلوم سي. نو پرسه جواب ما به مردمی است که ما به تعلیم ضرورت داریم. دنیا از تکنیک و تکنولوژی است. خواهرای ما مردم میتونه تا آینده به مکاتب بروه، ولی ټولنه توپیر لري. ډیره مننه. متاسفانه زما دری ما خوب پر نیست. اگر شما پشتو خوب میفهمیدین باز بسیار خوبش میاد.
So he basically said, we're not against education. We need education, but we're against education system. And there's a lot happening in Afghanistan. You know, new regime took over and they're basically attacking women in the name of, and they're going to say, oh, look what Taliban did. There's a lot happening. It's safer. And also the system needs to be changed. Everything needs to be changed, but we're not against education. We need to go further in life, and our daughters, our sisters, our woman needs that, our man needs that, woman needs that more than anything, because in Islam education never been against. If you guys research about golden age of Islam, about in Baghdad, Iraq, wow, the signs at that time Like they are trying to hide that science with the new science, with all Darwinism and all that, which makes you against God and all that. So they know what's happening through science, through all these subjects. They try to manipulate and indoctrinate the minds for the last 20 years. So there's a lot on their plate. So they need time. They need to work on it. And a lot of people doesn't understand these things. If you explain to them, they don't know what you're talking about. So it's better just say, hey, shut down the doors and let's just restart,
Can I just say one thing to that point is that
Go ahead.
The Americans in this room, we spent the past 20 years in silence as our money was laundered through Afghanistan in the same way it is currently through Ukraine, from our pockets to the defense industry, while Afghans were bombed every day, and we gave them 20 years of our silence. And it's really hypocritical for us to expect perfection with a complete regime change and extricating an occupation. I think we should have more patience than 18 months to expect perfection when we have to do a complete overhaul of every institution to eradicate this liberal mind virus that we've been trying to implant in their society for the past 20 years.
I got a great
question. The eradication of the liberal mind virus.
I got a great question from the audience because we kind of talked about this in the space a little bit relating to Taylor and his reporting, but they wanted to know with respect to the Taliban, what are they doing to stop بچه‌بازی?
میگه چی میکنین که بچه بازی استاپ شوه؟
Just define بچه‌بازی for people who don't know what that
میگه بچه
like when they like rape, basically when they like, rape little boys.
There's a story of Qawm Lut in Islam, which is Saddam and Gorma. So if you research that study, if you research the story, these are the same people, all right? So these people are against it because they're Muslim. And this is how they brought Bachabozi, through a lot of like when their CIA came to train the military system and all that. One of the contract is, you gotta sleep, or you gotta sleep with someone or sleep with a kid. This is how they normalized. This is how they brought this in culture. Because all these in the West, the biggest politicians, they're pedophiles, right? So they're against it, guys. They will hang them.
The U.S. government turned a completely blind eye to it when they were present there. So I want to know from the Taliban people, like what they're doing to combat it.
And to add on nuance, the CIA quite literally encouraged it while they were there.
میگه CIA در افغانستان که بود بچه بازی را میخواست باشه، زیاد کوشش کردن رونق بگیره و شما درباره از این بچه بازی که اشتکاکارا میکنن چی میکنن. By the way, before Omar he continues, Mullah Omar, the leader of Taliban, this is how the very first operation he began with was against
two boys from being sodomized by warlords, the warlords that were part of the Mujahideen.
Yep. And that's how they were in Taliban. They were just trying to take care of the community, but they saw the ties that, oh my God, it's running and that's how they began to go against this whole corrupt, about against pedophile. Exactly. And then the story narrative went somewhere else and they had to take over and they become power and all that. بفرمایید آقای عمر.
تشکر. بچه‌بازی از ارزش‌های ما مردم نیست و در اسلام محدود است. CIA در افغانستان بسیار چیزهای میخواست که دوامدار در افغانستان بمانه، میخواست ارزش‌های ما مردم صفر بکنه، میخواست اسلام مردم هدف قرار بگیره. به همون خاطر ما با چیزی که ارزش‌های CIA و آمریکاست با اونا در افغانستان مخالفت داریم، ولی بچه‌بازی در اسلام مردود است، در اسلام نارواست. به همون خاطر ما هیچ ارزشی با بچه‌بازی نداریم مردم.
It's not in our Islam, so we don't accept it. And CIA tried to normalize it, and they have to push it so hard. But we're here, we're not accepting this, and no pedophile, no transgender, no gay, no lesbian, nothing like that. Period. Feminine, masculine, two powerful force to create life and live with harmony. That's all they want. And by the way, Ahmed is here too. Yes, they are. Honestly, like, inshallah, I don't know. The world needs this.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm going to post an article about Mullah Omar saving those two kids from being sodomized. That's literally the reason why the Taliban got so popular in Afghanistan, because the warlords that the U.S. installed, they practiced this very widely back in the 90s. And then, it resurfaced after the Taliban were overthrown in 2001. But that's a brief overview.
یک چیز رو در بالا انداخته میگم من میندازم براتون باز ببینین. Oh my god, it's heavy, you know, like it makes
Wait,
you
did you
awake.
did you kick the Tawab guy?
No, I didn't kick anyone.
Actually, I can't even accept anyone or kick anyone.
Okay.
By the way, we have Ahmad there
I think
too.
he might be a dissenter, but he says he has some Bachibazi information. Tawab, do you want to go into it?
Thanks. I don't know why I can't even accept anyone, guys.
I'm going to hop off so I'll make more room for people. It was a pleasure. Treat. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Tawab, you said you had some info on Bachibazi or whatever. I'm guessing you're a dissenter from Taliban stuff, but, go ahead.
Not necessarily, but I wrote an article on this a while back ago, about a year ago. This story is about an army captain. His name is Captain Dan Quinn. He basically was fired from the U.S. Army because he beat up a U.S. ally in Afghanistan who basically was a pedophile. So what happened was that this U.S. ally who was a pedophile fighting against the Taliban had abducted a 10-year-old boy and had handcuffed him to his bed, and he was constantly raping him. And this story is in the New York Times. So this came out years after because he put out a lawsuit against the U.S. government for getting fired. Long story short, what happened was that during the war, the U.S. basically brought in allies or hired people who were like the scummiest of the earth as allies. They were pedophiles. They were some of the scummiest people you could possibly imagine. They have war crime records, and many of them were pedophiles. So in this case, this guy, Abdurrahman, was working with the U.S. fighting against the Taliban, but he was a well-known pedophile. And because he had abducted a 10-year-old boy and handcuffed him to his bed and was raping him every night, Captain Dan Quinn's conscience couldn't take it, so he ended up beating the guy up. He fought with him, and because Captain Dan Quinn beat him up, the U.S. Army had a policy that the policy was that it was a Bush era policy, that they were not allowed to say anything or do anything to allies that were fighting with them for the war on terror. So that was like supposedly their personal activity. And then when he was fired, he brought this case to the U.S. courts, and for years he was battling it. And finally, the New York Times in 2014 or 15 wrote an article on this, and that's how it was exposed. For years, nobody knew this was going on. But essentially what the U.S. policy was that anybody who allied with the U.S., it could have been the worst person possible, but so long as they were allies, the U.S. policy was that we would not look into their personal activities. That's what it was called. We have no say in what they do in their personal activities, even if they raped a 10-year-old boy on those U.S. bases. I've written an article on this, and it's pinned on my profile. So if anybody wants to look with all the sources. Now, these are the crimes which caused a lot of people to get up in Afghanistan and fight against the U.S. and all the occupations for 20 years. It wasn't just because we were going in and bringing in democracy. It's because we went in there and basically put the scummiest people on this planet in high positions. We paid them millions of dollars, and we were supporting them with weapons. And it backfired, of course, and the people would not stand for it. And these people fought for 20 years because these scumbags were basically there doing some rotten stuff, raping people. I mean, the list goes on. I can in my article, I've actually detailed all these scumbags, how they would rape women, how they had war criminal records. And you can, I've only given you like at least 5 or 6 different accounts, but there are so many of them. And this is part of the reason why this war never went anywhere, because we allied with the most scumbags you could imagine. Sorry, I'm not even articulating my points well. But
to corrupt the Afghan minds completely, more trapped in the matrix, because there's something about Afghan blood. No matter what, they'll become awake. They're gonna fight. So that's how they have to bring pedophilia. This is one of the key things to distract completely the subconscious mind. So you see?
All I'm going to say is just Google Captain Dan Quinn and you will understand everything you need to know about this war. If we allow pedophiles to be allies and we're basically aligning ourselves with known pedophiles who will kidnap a 10-year-old boy and rape him in the U.S. Army base, how could you justify this war? I mean, where is your conscience? I mean, Captain Dan Quinn was a hero because he stood up against this. And because he stood up against it, he was fired. He was kicked out of the army. That's how sad it was. And he had to fight for years to get back his pension, all of the benefits that he lost because they fired him because he did the right thing. That's the sad part. There's so much to say and there's so much that we don't know. I mean, the list of war criminals that we ended up aligning with, hiring, there's one person, his name is General Dostum. This guy has killed 6,000 people, innocent people who had surrendered.
Yeah.
6,000 people.
And he was a known pederast as well.
He's killed his wife. He killed his first wife. The story's long. I mean, his troops and his group has committed so much rape throughout the past 30 years. They were known as carpetbaggers. His group was known as carpetbaggers. I mean, when you hear all this story, what were you thinking? That this war is going to just go ahead and everybody's going to, they're going to greet people with flowers? Sorry, I hope you guys can just Google Captain Dan Quinn and just read my article. I've listed all my sources on how this whole war was just a scheme, a money laundering scheme, as Basel mentioned, just to feed the military-industrial complex. And it's a really sad part.
And it has cost us thousands of lives abroad and thousands of American lives. It has created so many more problems. It has harmed so many except the people at the very top who, of course, know that war is good for business. And these are the people who are the enemy, both of the United States and of the Taliban.
And can I translate it to because of the Omar and Omar?
Please.
Okay, thank you. یا درباره پشتکار که میگیرن ریپ میکردن یا مردار پدافیلیا یا که خب میفهمین که CIA پروژکتاش بود اینا آوردن میخواستن که بی ذهنای مردم بخی خراب کنن نه از نگاه فکر روانی و چیزا اشتکار مثلا این مسئله بچه بازی بیاره که نو ساختن دیگه. آقای شهاب لیوال میفهم که شما در مو قضیه و نیمی جنگتان را بودین چیز گفتنی دارین چون دستتان بلند است بفرمایید. So I give mic to Shawal and then what he have to say.
مینا خواهر من میخوایم امو انگلیسی گفت مایده و تکه کافی صحبت کنم اگر مشکلات بود با شما ترجمهش بکنین. من بیان میخوایم زبانشان بگم نه. How will you judge as when you have not contact with Asia? You know the Taliban from the media of the occupation and your enemies, but the Taliban rose against injustice, against the occupation and against the tyranny of the outsider. We must speak together so that we get know about each other's. I want to talk about the policy of Islamic Emirat. The policy of Islamic Emirat is the Divan Sharia. Sharia is our red line. We want a good relation with the world and the nation of the world. We are a member of the global community. We have a value. We respect all value of the global principles that do not conflict with our religion and the culture. We are not in contact with any tourist group. We consider the sense of the civilization and development to be progress. You should study Islam to get a better understanding of us. We are friendly and have value that you may have for yourself. And also, a brother asked about he want to come to Afghanistan. Yeah, do you think the Taliban are?
He cut out.
Someone here sent a message and he wants a mic called Malek Achakzai.
Oh, so he's out. Let's go to Jim. Jim is, if you guys know, he's kind of famous recently because of some.
We are Afghan. We fought for freedom and for Islamic people. We are peace-loving and good-natured people. Do not recognize us from the tribune of enemies who come by forces. We want good relations with non-Muslim so that we can convey the principle of Islam to them and let them know about our good religion. Thanks, dear.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you so much, you guys. And I want to add something. Do you guys know, like, all this central banking system? When they go invade a country, they just want to put their stamps, which is the central banking system. You know why they're so fearful of Sharia law? And why Gaddafi?
Because it's against usury and stuff.
Good, the interest game. That is what they. Okay, so that's what Gaddafi tried, right? Look what happened. Or Saddam tried. Look what happened. Or any Islamic country. It's just that part. When they want to, if anyone get in power, that's it. The banking world is done. You know how they change gold and silver into cash money? So these are all connected. It's crazy. Many people don't understand these.
Cool. Let's go to Jim. Go ahead, Jim. He's famous for his reporting recently, especially in Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for letting me speak. Afghanistan is actually a topic that I know something about. I served there in 2009 as an infantryman. I worked in the intelligence community in Afghanistan in 2013, and then I've reported on Afghanistan since 2014. On the topic of child rape in Afghanistan, there's plenty of blame to go around. And when I say there's plenty of blame to go around, I mean that of the U.S. government, I mean that of the Taliban, and I mean that of the U.S. Of the Afghan government. Let's start with the U.S. government, right? While there wasn't an official policy that stated to the effect of, like, look the other way in terms of child rape, there was an informal policy up and down the chain of command, which was, this is their culture, we can't do anything about it. On the official side of the house, Afghan child rape violated what are called as the Leahy laws, right? If the Leahy laws, essentially in the U.S., is basically, if we know that there are human rights abuses going on, we will not provide support. And in this case, it was U.S. dollars going to the Afghan government to advise and train and assist the Afghan national security forces. We knew this was going on. Now, built into the Leahy laws is a caveat where the Secretary of the State and the Secretary of Defense could override violations of the Leahy law. So basically, there were allegations that child rape was going on, and we knew it was going on. Basically, both the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State essentially, the Leahy laws were supposed to shut down any funding to the Afghan government because we knew these human rights violations were going on. Well, both the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense overrid those. And that's according to the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. They were the watchdog for Afghanistan in terms of dollars and cents being spent on the Afghan war. That's the sins of the U.S. government, that they knew what was going on and they ignored it and continued to fund the Afghan government despite the Leahy laws. And then just both the Afghan government, within the Afghan National Army, within the Afghan National Police, the Afghan National Border Patrol, you name the agency, there was child rape going on, and there was child rape going on within the Taliban itself, depending on which province you were in. I saw it down in Helmand province, which is where I operated the majority of my time. So those are some points on Afghan child rape. Thanks for letting me speak.
Can we ask the Taliban members about that specific province that Jim brought up and that he saw Bachabazi over there?
I think he's talking about Kandahar, right?
Before we go to Ahmad Mansour, can I just respond to Jim's point that he brought up? I want to point out the fact that there's no contradiction here in terms between the United States government turning a blind eye to quote unquote human rights abuses when they're propping up an occupation government which regularly conducts night raids, disappearances, torture at Baghorn prison. These things are not, it's not some sort of like hypocrisy to point out that the United States government is turning a blind eye to these quote unquote human rights abuses while it's conducting its own quote unquote human rights abuses.
Oh, absolutely. We Afghanistan is a kleptocracy, and
an occupation government by its very definition is corrupt. An occupation government cannot exist without the money flowing to fill the pockets of bought politicians. This is not an organic government which actually represents the will of the people like the current IEA does. An occupation government, which was the national unity government that existed for 20 years, can only exist as a corrupt system where the people are being paid in order to prop up the occupation government. It's a puppet regime.
Also, the place that got very well known about Bachabazi was actually propaganda because Mullah Omar, the leader of Taliban, was from Kandahar, and so they tried to say that Taliban was Bachabaz. Do you see? Can you guys give mic there's a lady called Dr. Banu Panshiri. It would be nice to hear a woman who's living in Afghanistan and her thought. If you were, I can't even access.
I just added her, but I think Kite Runner contributed to that propaganda because they made
good job.
They made it seem as if the Taliban were into that when.
Well, I will say this: a lot of organizations have policies against things that they shouldn't do, and yet those actions still happen. I mean, in the U.S., we have policies against murder, yet people still commit murder. So the idea that we don't have a policy that this should occur doesn't mean that it doesn't.
Yeah, Bachabazi is illegal here too. I mean, it happens here as well. I think we've all become very familiar with this over the past months and years.
Yeah, but I mean, can we ask them about that from the specific province that Jim saw this happening in?
Okay, میگن دقیقاً داری یا که بچه‌بازی بود از چی نظریه داری؟
کدام دوران بود؟
میگن که خود طالب بچه‌بازی میکردن.
What was the province, Jim?
گوش کو مینا خواهر امی منظورش اگه باشه در قندهار گوش کو ما داشتیم مثل جنرال رازی که امی غربی های اونموش تربیه کرده بود آقای عزی بود در دوران قدیم به نام اسمت مسلم این هم امی رقم مردم بود که نمی رقم فاجعه در قندهار آورده بود بعد از اون چیزی ما خونجا ندیدیم مثل که ما امی 20 سال به نام پنجابی کشته شدیم امی رقم تبلیغات امی
propagandas a lot of propagandas against us, but they were doing it, like all US military. There was the biggest case kind of like got revealed. They were like pregnant, making girls pregnant and then dumping them in, trying to like hide them somewhere, and every time people would find it, they're like, look at Taliban, they're like actually likes to do like destroy pregnant girls for ritual acts. And then when the truth came out, I'm gonna pin it up, okay? When the truth came out, US said sorry, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, it was just an accidental. They just swipe it off easily.
Oh my God, please pin that up because that sounds crazy.
Okay, let me pin that up for you. And also, can you guys, let me say hi to this Dr. Banu because I think she's from Panjshir and Arif. Let's see what's my thoughts. خانم پنجشیر خوش آمدین. چطور هستین؟
Dr. Banu.
Dr. Banu Panshiri فارسی انگلیسی یاد دارین؟ Okay, I don't think her connection. Do you guys know where I'm from?
مینا خواهر میخوایم مینا بسیار کوشش میکنه
Oh, there she is.
Oh, here she is. خانم دکتر بانو چطور هستین؟ خوب هستین؟
تشکر، سلامت باشید مینا خواهر جان، با امیدی که خودتون خوب باشین. با اجازهتون
بفرمایید. انگلیسی یاد دارین؟ Do you know English?
نه.
بفرمایید.
Do you know English? No. Oh man, we need Elon to get her some Starlink over there.
خانم بانو اینترنتت خراب است.
high mountains.
بفرمایید. Oh yeah, our internet doesn't work.
This is why we need to normalize relations with the current Afghan government so that they can invest in infrastructure like roads, bridges, tunnels, and internet so that we can further connect with the actual people there and understand the truth of what's happening.
Afghanistan is going to become a fiber city. Fiber country.
Inshallah, yes.
Inshallah. It's part of the Belt and Road Initiative.
Sameera, your mic is on. Sameera's mic.
What happened?
Nothing. Your mic is on.
That's background noise.
Okay, so let me tell you guys. So when I wanted to come out and tell the truth, it was really, really. Where is she? I can't even see her, guys. Where is this?
Yeah, that's not my mic. That's somebody else's.
I can't even see where this noise is coming from. What the fuck?
Me too. It's all weird.
Is that? It's not.
It's her. It's Banu, but I don't see her here.
Oh fuck, dude.
How can you just?
Can you not fuss in front of the Taliban?
We're being hacked.
No, maybe it's all this delay. It's all these like packets being sent after like past a mountain or something.
خواهر مینا ببخشی با می قاری سپریال فقط 2 دقیقه وقت بده که و به حساب قندهار که گفتن که نمیره برات واضح کنه که نمیاره بزنه ببخشی.
اوکی آقای عمر بفرمایید.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. بیا هم ټول محترم ګډونوالو ته سلامونه او احترامات وړاندې کوم. زه د اسلامي امارت د ایجاد اړوند یم. افغانستان کې موازی حکومتونه یو حکومت نو واکمن په شمال کې یو رهبری او په جنوب کې بل رهبری و پاټک سالاری او بچبازي او واړه ماشومان به د موټرو کوزیدل او په زور به دغه ناوړه پدیده ورسره کېدل. کله چې دغه شکایتونه په افغانستان کې زیات شول او دغه پدیده د افغانستان ټولو برخو ته سرایت وکوي، بل اخره د اسلامي امارت رهبر مؤسس مولا محمد عمر دغه شومې پدیده په وړاندې را پاتېدل دي. د خلکو شکایتونه دغه تر غوږ ورسېدل. اسلامي امارت ایجاد شو، پاټک سالاری ورکه کړلې، بچبازي ورکه کړلې، موازی حکومتونه یو رکړل. په افغانستان کې داخلي جګړې وي، هغوی ته د پای ټکی کې شو دي. دا ټول مسایل حل سول. په 15 کال کې د افغانستان په ټولو جغرافیا باندې یو حکومت واکمن سول. شمال څخه به جنوب ته رهبری انتقالیدله په د یو مکتوب په اساس. له کابل څخه د افغانستان ټولو ولایتونو ته د یو مکتوب په اساس کټاکنې وي، هر نوع اجرات هغه به ترسره کېدله. دا چې په اسلامي امارت باندې د جوازي تور دی، زه دوی نه ملامتوم، دوی له واقعیتونو څخه لرې پاتې شوي. دوی په هغه مغرضو رسنیو باور کړی دی چې د افغانستان انځور اوس هم منفي نړۍ ته معرفي کوي. خواهش ما از این است که تصویر افغانستان از رسانه ها نبینیم. رسانه ها واقعیت ها را گم کرده و تحریف کرده و نمیخواهد که واقعیت ها در افغانستان پیش بینی شود. بل خبره ده کله چې اسلامي امارت واکمن سو، له دغه واکمنۍ وروسته امریکا په افغانستان اشغال راوړ. په دغه 15 کلونو کې تاسو ماته راوښیئ چې په افغانستان کې د بشري حقوقو نقض شوي وي، بچبازي شوي وي، او هغه مسایل چې تاسو د بشري حقوقو نقض بولئ هغه دې ترسره شوي وي. دا چې غربي نړۍ تبلیغاتو باندې باور کوي د افغانستان له عیني واقعیتونو څخه لرې پاتې ده، دا جلا بحث دی. اما موږ مسؤل یو چې دوی ته د افغانستان واقعي انځور ور وړاندې کړو. دغه کم ژورنالستان ورونه چې په امارت باندې اعتراض لري، له دوی څخه خواهش کوو چې تاسو افغانستان ته یو سفر وکړئ، د افغانستان وضعیت خپل وګورئ. مینا هر یک پیغام ما را با اینا بفرست. شما که سر امارت اعتراض دارین، سر حکومت فعلی بگو اعتراض دارین، از شما یک خواهش میکنیم که یک سفر در افغانستان داشته باشین. خودتان وضعیت کنونی افغانستان ببینید که افغانستان فعلا در کدام وضعیت قرار است، حقوق بشر در کدام وضعیت است، بچه‌بازی در کدام وضعیت است، امو ارزش‌های بیگانه ها در کدام وضعیت است. ما ارزش‌هایی داریم که اسلام است، ارزش‌های افغانی است. دونم کسی احترام داشته باشه ما هیچ مشکلی که کسی نداریم. کسی که اعتراض داره و از واقعیت‌ها دور مانده، سر رسانه‌ها باور کرده، از اونها یک خواهش بگو عمر بریال از شما خواهش داره که یک سفر به افغانستان داشته باشین که شما بفهمین که افغانستان فعلا در کدام وضعیت است.
درست است. First thing first, very simple. Don't fall for any kind of propaganda through mainstream media. All we know who owns CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, blah, 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 blah. All of them, okay? Second, don't even listen to me. He said, you guys need to come to Afghanistan. Eyewitness is much better than anything. He's like, come, take a look, to Taliban, sit around, look around the people, ask people how they're doing, how they're feeling compared to like 20 years of invasion in Afghanistan. Everything will be very clear to all of you. You need to, do you know, like we're like, don't believe in things blindly. So he gave you the power that you need to come and take a look. So then you'll know like the world is corrupted. A lot of the things are lies, guys, and we believed in lies. That's so sad, right? Anyway, let's give mic to آقای مولوی. شما هم خوش آمدین آقای شهاب.
Can we acknowledge like how funny this is? Because like we started this space, it was like Sameera saying like chill space. It turned into Andrew Tate, and then like halfway through, I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be fun? Like, because I think Meena, you were in here, and I was
no,
like,
it was my idea, Nuance.
I can't remember exactly, but it was like, hey, what if we asked, like, we brought in like some Taliban, asked them about like Andrew Tate, do they know about Top G? And then it's like you invited like I guess like a couple accounts, and then like the rest.
Literally, I messaged Umar Mansour. I was like, whatever you're doing,
so one account, and then boom, like all the.
They're really, honestly, they are not. Omar is the one Omar that we're talking. He's really good. Omar Mansour is good. Maulavi down there is good. I know these people because when I open spaces, honestly, a lot of women are like fighting. Women terrorists. And then there you go.
That's exactly how it went down, though. Because, I mean, I was curious about the Taliban specifically, and I was like, Meena, you know the Taliban, right?
Mm-hmm.
So...
And
I can't wait. I wish I had recorded it, but it started out as a chill space. I didn't mean for it to go into this. I mean, like,
honestly,
oh my
it's
God,
shocking, Sameera. It is shocking to them too. Like, how is it possible? Like, girls in the West, like, they see through these things. They're all women, so they're like shocked. So for them, you know, like my spaces. Guess what? Let me tell you guys. So when I came to these spaces, I'm actually from Panjshir, Afghanistan. Oh. So I stood up against Naraf and all that, and I said, "No, I'm not gonna." Everyone's like, "No, you're not Panjshiri. You're just a Pashtun. You're tough." I think they deserve it. And honestly, we all gone through this, being the victim of hate and fear, and that was bad, right? So they're shocked. They're literally shocked. Look at you, like, oh, gorgeous girl. What's going on here? What's happening? The world is
it's crazy how this. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you so much. Honestly, both of you, thank you. Let's see what else.
Jim, can we let Jim ask his question?
Go ahead, Jim.
So I have a really sincere question, and I ask this question from the perspective of a veteran, not as a journalist. As someone who has dealt with post-traumatic stress from my time in Afghanistan, one of the things I really admired was looking at Vietnam veterans and looking at their relationship with their former enemies, the North Vietnamese. And if you look at them, 50 years after that war, we saw Vietnam veterans returning to Vietnam and meeting with people who they formerly fought with. And it was kind of a beautiful moment to see Vietnam veterans and North Vietnamese sit down and break bread together. And kind of like, both, the North Vietnamese and Vietnam veterans from America have both, fought each other. But it was nice to finally see them, years after that war ended, to have them sit down and break bread together. And you could walk through Vietnam peacefully. And that's something I always envied as an Afghan veteran. And I always kind of wondered, if 40 years from now, if I would get that opportunity to return to, Southern Helmand province, to my former battlefields, or if I would be able to sit down with, some of the Taliban members that I used to fight against. And instead of us fighting, that we would come to, that we would sit down and break bread together in peace. And I wonder, for the Taliban in the room, do they think that Afghanistan will ever kind of achieve that peace that we see in Vietnam?
Great question. Meena?
alright. خب طالبای عزیز میگن که فکر میکنی ویتنام که به او آرامش که خدا رساندن شما هم خدا رساندین که کلگی یک جای پس بیا بشینه. خود از یک وقت به ضد طالبان می جنگید، حالا به حقایق بیدار شده به مسائل یوکرین و اینا. میگه فکر میکنید روز در افغانستان میاد که یک آرامش باشه و ما بیایم بشینیم تا به کی بجنگیم؟ میگه جهان کلش باید عشق باشه، محبت باشه، اتحاد باشه، یک جا باشیم که دشمن خب کل یکی سیاه و سفید نداره، اون دو مسلمان نداره.
ما یک گپ میزنیم وقتی که 20 سال قبل 21 سال قبل در افغانستان اسلامی امارت اسلامی حاکم بود، امریکا میخواست در افغانستان اشغال بیاره. اولین پیشنهادی که از افغانستان به امریکا داده شد اونمو پیشنهاد بود که بیاین جنگ نکنین، اشغال نکنین، تانک و طیاره را سر افغانستان مرش نکنین، بیاین گپ بزنیم، یک تفاهم به دست بیاریم. اما امریکا قبول نکرد. لیکن فکر اینا تغییر کرده. بسیار یک
آقای عمر صدای
میخوایم یک چه بکنیم؟ مجل اړیکې ولرو، له نړۍ سره اقتصادي اړیکې ولرو، له نړۍ سره سیاسي تفاهم.
آقای عمر جایگاه تغییر، آقای عمر اگه صدای من میشنوی جایگاه تغییر به اینترنتت قطع شه. اول من فارسی تا شنیدم.
صدای
اوکی ایت اوکی. آقای عمر من شنیدم، برایشان میگم.
مینا خوار مولی صاحب نوبت بده که مولی صاحب میخواد که با می آقای ایرانی صحبت کنه.
Okay, ما باید یک تشریح کنم. All he said that, you know what, this is one of our first requests from Bush America. We said, let's not fight. Let's come to some kind of agreement and conclusion and just work together.
3 times you guys Bin Laden. 3 times.
Thank you. See? Even Sameera knows. So yeah, but they didn't accept it because they don't want friendship. They don't want love, guys. They want war. They want power. They were saying, me. Just give me your land and be my slave. Modern slavery. That's it. Okay, let's give mic to Maulavi. I think
Wait, Maulavi that didn't really answer the question. Can we ask someone else who might answer the question?
Yeah, I think because of his internet.
Yeah. Maybe we can ask one of the other ones.
Let's ask Maulavi. He's good. He wants to talk Persian, I think, with you. آقای مولوی خوش آمدین. بفرمایید اون سوال از این رو مگه گرفته باشی بر جواب بده. آیا فکر میکنی افغانستان روز شب که همگی آرامش باشه، محبت باشه، یک جای شب غرب و شرق گپ بزنین مثل برادرانه؟
تشکر بسیار زیاد خواهر محترم از شما و تمام دوستا و خواهرها و برادرایی که در اسپیس هستن. السلام علیکم و رحمت الله و برکاته. اول خب بسیار زیاد تشکر از شما و از این دوستایی که اینجا آمدن. بسیار یک اسپیس خوب و این راه حل است گفتگو. دیگه راه حل در این دنیا بغیر از کشتن و بغیر از مهاجرت و از دیگه چیز نداره. اینمی یک راه هست که از راه گفتگو ما میتونیم مشکلات خود حل کنیم. اگر شما کوتاه می صحبتای ما را چی کنین ترجمه کنین خوب است.
Okay, first he said hi to everyone and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come here and talk. This is how we can become a power. Awakening will happen. Awareness will spread. That's it. So he's going to short and I'm going to translate. بفرمایید آقای مولوی.
تشکر. اول خو ما الحمدلله مسلمان هستیم و در اسلام بهترین راه و صلح و خیر. بهترین راهی است که صلح خیر است در بین اقوام، در بین مذاهب، در بین مملکت‌ها، در بین تمام بشریت. بهترین راه را اسلام انتخاب کرده و نمو صلح است، راه امن است. و دیگه ای برادر ما که اینجا گفتن که اگر ما نمیتونیم گفتگو کنیم، بشینیم مشکلات خود از راه افهام و تفهیم حل کنیم، چرا نه؟ افغانستان هیچ وقت مردم افغانستان جنگ طلب نیستن. ما که در 20 سال هم جنگ کردیم، مجبور بودیم از خانه خود، از کشور خود دفاع کردیم، به هیچ کشور ما نرفتیم و نه توقعی کسی داشته باشه که مردم افغانستان و یک کشور دیگه بره و حمله کنه. کشور ما بسیار در بدر است، اقتصادش خراب است،
ما از امریکایی ها، از خارجی ها، از تمام اروپا و ناتو این توقع را نداشتیم که اینا بیاین به این کشور مسکین و این کشور فقیر مادر بم ها را بیارن، B-52 را بیارن و ما را بمبار کنن، ما را شهید کنن، اطفال ما را بکشن. ما توقعی از اینا ای داشتیم که اینا ایجا بجای از این که B-52 را بیاره، بیلدوزر را بیاره، یک قوه بشری روان کنه که ایجا خدمت کنه به مردم افغانستان. بفرمایین خواهر.
So we're not a haters. We're not a destroyer. We don't go and invade countries. We don't destroy people's life and all that. But what we did for the last 20 years, we had no other option. We got to fight for our land and ourselves. But we never expected this. You know, when negotiation happened, we never expected this, what NATO did to our country. They destroyed our children. They destroyed our home. They destroyed our life. I mean, look at us, migration like me, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, my home is home, right? We have been suffering, struggling, going from one place to another place. So the whole life got basically destroyed. بفرمایید آقای مولوی.
Well, they're going to answer the question.
تشکر، بازم تشکر از شما. ما فعلا پالیسی امارت اسلامی ای هست که به تمام جهان روابط خوب داشته باشه و ما میخوایم کشور خود بسازیم. ما دیگه طرفدار جنگ در افغانستان و در هیچ کشور نیستیم. ما میخوایم کشور خود بسازیم و میخوایم با تمام جهان. پالیسی امارت اسلامی هست که رابطه بسیار خوب دوستانه داشته باشه. دیگه از اینا خواهش ما ای است که می پیام ما به جهانیان، به اروپا و به امریکا و به اینا که برسانه از طرف ما مردم افغانستان و نظام حاکم در افغانستان هرگز طرفدار جنگ، طرفدار خشونت نیست. ما میخوایم کشور خود مثل کشورهایتان خودتان همی قسم بسازیم. ما میخوایم زندگی کنیم. شما اگر لطف کنین دیگه از مداخلاتی که در کشور ما میکنین از این دست بکشین، ما را بانین که ما کشور خود بسازیم. کمک کنین به جای از این که شما مثلا کسایی را کوشش میکنین بیارین در کشور ما که اینا ایجا امتحان دادن، ناکام شدن، از افغانستان هم دزدی کردن، از امریکا و ناتو هم دزدی کردن، از همه دزدی کردن، فرار کردن. کشور ما در یک حالت بسیار خراب ماندن. دیگه خواهش ما اینمی هست که اینا همیشه بیاین و صدای مردم افغانستان، صدای واقعی مردم افغانستان به انمی کشورهای امریکا و اروپایی، کشورهای اروپا برسانه و خاصتا به کلانایشان برسانه که دیگه افغانستان تخریب نکنین. به جای از این که تخریب بکنین، کمکایتان روان کنین، قوه بشری که خدمت بکنه، انجینیر و دکتر و اینا روان کنین که ما همیجا کشور خود بسازیم. شما 20 سال ظلم کردین در امرای مردم افغانستان. مردم افغانستان به نام تروریست اینا را بمبارد کردین، کشتین، در زندان بردین. بالاخره نتیجه چی شد؟ امروز خانمو حکومت است که الحمدلله تمام مردم افغانستان از امارت اسلامی خوش هستند. اگر اینا تروریست می بودن باز شما چرا امرایشان مذاکرات کردین؟ چرا صحبت کردین؟ و ایجا شما اشتباه کردین که مردم افغانستان ناحق کشتین. بفرمایید.
Okay, first he said like if you guys can do any kind of help is basically to share the truth, hear out people's truth, people's voices. And if we were the terrorists, why did they even want to negotiate with us, right? Please leave us alone. We have nothing to do with no one. If anybody wants to give us the hand of brotherhood, friendship, sure. But if you want to come and to invade again, to destroy and show us like you're better than us and we got to follow you, no. We're not going to accept that. At the end of the day, you guys called Afghan people terrorists. You dropped bomb on us. We lost life. A lot of people went to prisons. So we don't want to do that again. You guys failed the test. Even if you try to have a test in Afghanistan, you guys failed it. So we're not going to allow that again. And please help us. Even if you're an engineer, if you're a doctor, if you want to work something good for humanity, you're most welcome to come to Afghanistan and help us out because we're in a very bad shape. $9 billion, nobody talks about that. And a lot of, assets that a lot of corruptions stole the monies and run away. And a lot happened for the last 20 years. And unfortunately, it's like a woman that got raped badly 20 times and left alone. That's what Afghanistan is right now.
It seems like nobody's answering Jim's specific question, but,
What was Jim's specific? Okay. Sorry. Let me ask them again.
Don't make it so long. Just try to make it like basically. Listen, the soldiers you used to fight, the American soldiers you used to fight. Could you see a time or a moment, whether that be now or in the future, where you guys can break bread and be friends and all that?
بسیار کوتاه برشان بگوین اما امی اساکر که اینا جم مثلا یادم که در بالا نشته از هی امرای بزدتان می جنگید میگه فکر میکنی روز میایه که یه اسکرایی که امریکا امرایتان جنگد دوباره بشینین مثل بیادرها واره کسایی که اینا بیدار شدن میتونید روز دیده میتونید کوتاه بگوین. تشکر.
بله ما جنگ ما یک مجبوریت بود امرای اینا. ما جنگ نداریم. وقتی که اینا از افغانستان بیرون شدن اینا دیگه دوست هستن. ما به هیچ وقت اینا به نظر دشمن اینا را نمی بینیم. امارت اسلامی حتی در داخل افغانستان کسانی که افغان بودن اونا را هم بخشیدن. کسانی که به کشور ما تجاوز کرده بودن اشغال آورده بودن بعد از خروج ما امرایشان هیچ دشمنی نداریم. این پالیسی رسمی امارت اسلامی افغانستان هستن. بفرمایید.
One of the policy is that once you're out of the battle everything is good to go. We forgive and we have no issue with you. You are my brother. You can come. We can sit together. Even when Taliban took over, guys, they actually forgive all the prisoners and all that. They're like, go. But if we caught you again, we're going to give you punishment. So they forgive everything. This is how the beauty of their faith in Islam is. You got to forgive and start again. And another thing, someone asked a question in the comments, like, what about COVID in Afghanistan? Honestly, when Taliban took over, in the beginning, they said no virus, no pirates, and they banned the vaccination. So this is the only country that you don't need vaccination. They're against vaccination. Any kind of vaccination, by the way. Polio, that's completely another story you got to get into and research. So yeah, anything else, guys? And Jim, you're good to go. Honestly, Jim, a lot of soldiers that become awake. One soldier, I don't know his name right now, but he just went to Afghanistan just to heal himself and ask for forgiveness. Whatever it was, he was going through a bad conscience. He couldn't sleep and all that. So I think he's actually doing a documentary right now.
تشکر. ما در آخر فقط از شما خواهر محترم و از تمام دوستایی که آمدن تشکری میکنم بسیار زیاد و این قسم اگر اینا بیاین ما امرایشان صحبت کنیم میشه بسیار یک راه حل خوب برای مشکلاتی فعلا در افغانستان است پیدا کنیم. بسیار زیاد تشکر از دوستایی که اینجا آمدن و از شما خواهر.
He said, thank you so much. This will help us. We can help the people. We can help each other and all that. And by the way, another Talib, by the way, said, Jem, that I don't blame you guys because we all didn't know. A lot of American soldiers didn't know. So we all fall into a lot of propagandas, a lot of lies. And I know you had a good intention to go fight the terrorists to bring peace, but we got used. So a lot of us, it's again that MK Ultra that I said you everyone have to research. Military system used that. And we appreciate what you did. Your intention was pure. But now you know, and I'm happy that you know.
It's 9:00 in Romania. I was wondering, do we have any resources? Anybody know, Sameera? Anybody know people over there that can get any updates
on Andrew Tate?
Yeah, on the news for this morning.
No, I'm really worried. But I think Nuance was saying earlier that they're probably going to appeal. Nuance?
Yeah, I was told they have a week to appeal the 30-day hold or whatever. So we'll see.
All right, let's see what happens.
It's also Saturday, so I guess the courts and everything's closed.
Not so good.
What makes you say that?
Based on their actions, based on Romanian people and Romanian lawyers who seem to understand the situation better than me, and based on the prosecutor that they've chosen for the case.
Gotcha. Mr. Mansour wants to talk. Please go ahead. Meena.
بازم نمی دوستی ما سلام و سلام گفتم که بابا معرفی شدم گفتن ما تو را پالو میکنم که همین دوست عزیز ما نیستن که گفتن که از تهران هستم. ما لهجه خوبی داریم ایرانی که با تو دوست شویم هر وقت حرف بزنیم. و مینا خو هر یک حرف داشتیم که فقط یک دقیقه با می برادر احمد ما نوبت بده که وقتی همین دوستای ما اینجا میشینن که به خاطر شستشوی مغز اینمی چیزا باز ما و شما میفهمیم که احمد برادر چی که ان شاء الله الرحمن از این چیز میفهمه که چیزی مثلا دمی 20 سال اشغال د پالوی همین جنگ نظامی 80% که نمیا فکر جنگی چیز فکری جنگ کردن همین غربی ها میشه که بین همین مردم همین احمد برادر خودت که قاری سبریال هم اگه اینجا باشه در اینده یا نمیاله که برش بگوین که چی کردن دمی جوانای ما چی رقم تربیه کردن نمیا قد میخوام که احمد برادر وقت بده که نمی عربه بزنن.
تشکر آقای منصور. Guys, meet Ahmad, one of my good buddies on Spaces. Well educated, research, got out of matrix, so he's trying his time, his voice to bring a lot of awareness, a lot of information. So let's give Mike, and he wants to hear from him too. Thank you so much.
Nuance, Meena, you can do that.
Ahmad, بفرمایید.
I'm eating ice cream, so give me a second.
What flavor?
Orange sherbet.
Never mind. Go ahead, Ahmad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Only chocolate for me.
Only chocolate.
Hi to everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. That was a great conversation. Great space. Lots of information and truth. Happy to be here. And our friends just spoke like about all the issues that was going around like in last 20 years and what's going on right now in the whole earth, like people facing like lots of troubles and like misinformations through the social media, like how they're manipulating our youths, our youngsters, like brainwashing their like they're just trying to kill their critical thinking, just to not think critically and like to go deep in all the issues we need to understand and know today. That's how they're just trying to brainwash everyone, and that's what they did in the last 20 years when they went to Afghanistan. And yep, that's the sad reality, and we have to wake up. We have to give a call to all those who want to be awakened from all these falsehoods, like misleading informations going around. Yeah, we are here just trying to help those
Are you in
who need
Afghanistan?
help. Yeah, sorry?
Are you in Afghanistan?
No, I'm in Canada.
Oh.
Can I follow up on what Ahmed said? If that's cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically when you talk to like lots of young people in Afghanistan, young people who for the past 20 years had professional type of jobs that were dependent on the occupation because they were working for NGOs or defense contractors, things like that, no one believes more the lies that we were told in America about nation building in Afghanistan than those people. It really is a generation of people under the age of like 40 who are the vast majority of them really were true believers in the fact that, you know, this occupation and the occupation government were trying to build something in Afghanistan resembling a Western democracy when obviously we all know at this point that's not true. It's a money laundering scheme, et cetera, et cetera. But that's kind of goes to the same thing that Ahmed's pointing out. It's like, it's really a generational brainwashing that the Taliban is really trying to fight against. So that's why when you see policies like about, you know, the universities or education or things like that, you see these young people viscerally react on with these viral videos that get spread by, you know, vested interests. But it's because they are true believers, and for the past 20 years they've been taught since they entered the education system at age 5 or whatever that, you know, they're going to live in a liberal democracy when they're adults. And that's that kind of shock, that dissonance for them to realize like that is not the case because the occupation is everything, and everything they believed was dependent on the occupation is really jarring. And that's why you have to really take everything you hear from those types of people with a grain of salt and really give more value to what we're hearing from people like Omar or Mansood or the other people who've joined us.
Thank you, Basil. Someone said shame on you guys giving mic to Taliban.
Hey, who said that?
Jamhuriyat. the democracy lover.
Oh,
ex-government of Afghanistan.
Disgusting. They're butthurt about getting kicked out. So
yeah, they're mad that the gravy train has ended for them.
Yeah, exactly. They can no longer make money off of being pawns of the U.S. So I get it.
And I shared something above, guys. Last links, and it is an old document of drones fall onto families and how many women and children. So many people died, guys. One time, my very first space was a Talib. I asked him, I was curious to know how they fought, what's their story, what's their background and all that. He said he was one of the victims that the drone attack fall on their house. He lost all the family. So he was 4 years old, ran towards US camps and stuff to fight the soldiers. And when they saw him and seeing that, oh my God, he's the victim, right? They put him in a jail, backroom jail for 8 years. And after 8 years, he got out. Oh my God, the humblest human being when he was talking. And I told him, Talib, if you would grow up in the West right now, you'd be like an addict or something, or you just killed yourself and like, oh, I have depression and all that. But what made you like fight those battles within? Just accepting it. It's a lot, right? Losing your family, your siblings and everything, and 8-9 years in the jail. It hit me hard. And I brought a lot of my Western Afghan friends to just because, they have depression, anxiety, and they're going through a lot of life struggles. And I'm like, just listen to him. Just listen to him. Look at him. No drinking, no any kind of, drugs, nothing. How could he just heal himself? And he said, my faith. I meditated a lot in the jail. See?
And the thing is, if you want to be serious about this, it's like you have to I get that it's very often with us, like with Americans and Westerners, the Taliban becomes a punchline, oh, haha, the Taliban, et cetera, how base it is to support them. But no, these are real people. These are not savages. These are not insane people who are so dissociated from reality the way us rationalists in the West. Like, no, these are real people who are reacting to the natural. If your country was invaded by an occupying force of 40-something countries, you would react in the exact same way if you had a spine, if you were a man, if you knew God. And because these people do, very often liberals in the West, whether they're conservative liberals or left liberals, treat the Taliban as a punchline. It's a really disservice to them and to us and to our own perception of our own humanity.
If I can respond to Basil real quick. There's some truth in what he says. I remember there's a documentary on Netflix that I participated in called Turning Point, which is about the Afghan War. And I talk about the first time I actually had to kill someone. And I struggled with it because, I was told that he was Taliban, but I didn't know if he was. He was shooting at me and I shot back. But I struggled with that first kill because first of all, he didn't look any older than 15 years old. And my thoughts didn't go to hate. It went to empathy. It went to, one was what put him in this position and what put me in this position. And I wondered, secondly, if under different circumstances, would we have been friends? And then the third thing I thought about was this guy, did he really believe, in, killing infidels or whatever, and that's basically what was told. Or was he forced to fight? Or, I wanted to know what his belief system was. But, the other thing, the fourth thought I had was, if someone was invading my country, right, would I take a shot at them? So I really struggled with it because I didn't have answers to those questions, and I still don't to this day.
I have an answer for one of those questions. The question of why he was there was because you were there. Because you were there in a Kevlar vest, with a gun, with a tank, with an army, with 40-something other countries, occupying his land, killing his brothers, killing his father, destroying his society, and that's why he was there. You cannot...
I would argue that I'll never know the question because I killed him. And that is the tragedy.
Yes. but the thing is, this is not a therapy session for Jim to absolve himself of his guilt about having occupied a country for 20 years.
No, I'm not trying to make this into a therapy session. I'm trying to be honest. you know. And so the real tragedy of that situation is I'll never be able to get to ask him, you know.
Thanks for being honest. Can I translate to them what you said, Jim?
Sure.
Thank you. Again, you didn't know. Okay. We grew up in a system with lots of lies and lies and lies. Thanks for being honest. But yeah, it was sad story. I just pictured you and that kid. این قصه خود کرد وقتی که اسکر بودم افغانستان گفت من میخواستم دم رویم یک بچه بخوام گفت 15-16 17 نمه قسم سال آمد بخوام که او را شود کرد زرش و میگه تا امروز من نفهمیدم اگر من نمی بودم اونجا آیا تو کار میشد چرا یا آمد پیش روی من یا آمد از جای عظیمی بودم این کار میکرد یعنی در سوال گفت آبد به من مانده و فکر نمی کنم من میخوایم متا جواب بفهم یعنی بسیار در وجدانش آزار میده باز بیزل برش گفت و من برات میگم که چرا اونجا بود تا شد به خاطر تو در خانهش رفته بودی تانک بردی ملیتری بردی خواستی زندگیشان نابود کنی و بچه خورد آمده بود که در مقابل تو استاده شد خلاص thank you so much
یک چیز پیش نظامی بود خواهر این نظامی بود امید افغانستان
بود اما لقایق میگه یعنی فهمید که کار غلط کرده بود
ببخشی خواهر نمیشه دوستا هستن که وقت پیدا کردی با بریال صاحب تو نوبت بده دستش بالا بود که چی میگه
گاهد آقای عمر
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم بیا هم نو ملګرو ته راغلا شوم دغه د دوی د جنایتو یو برخه ده زه اول به دې خوشاله یم چې د دوی فکر تغییر کړی دی په افغانستان کې په هغه موجوده جنایتونو باندې خپل دوی
He's happy for you, Jim, that you can see now. He's happy for you, and he's a Talib telling you that. Okay, بفرمایید.
زه مننه له تاسو ټولو نه زه اول خوشاله یم چې دوی په خپلو جنایتونو باندې پرده پورته کوي خپل اقرار ور باندې کوي چې په افغانستان کې دوی ماشومان قتل کړي ګورئ 15 کلن ماشوم په غربي هیوادونو کې د دوی لپاره ډیر ارزښت لري
قاری محترمه ډیره بکنه غواړم فارسی ورته وای دوی پیږي په فارسی باندې دی تا فارسی ماشاءالله کده ته فکر مکو فارسی ده کده
خب اول خود تشکر از جیم صاحب که سر جنایت‌های خود در افغانستان اقرار کرد. این جنایت‌های یوازی از جیم نشده، در طی 20 سال بسیار ماشوما قتل شده که یا از رسانه‌ها پنهان مانده. در 20 سال ماشوما قتل شده، زنا قتل شده، موسیقی‌ها قتل شده. یک بخش عادیش است که جیم خودش اقرار کرده. ولی ما خوش هستیم که اینا به جنایت‌های خود اقرار کرده و فکر و روان و روحش تغییر کرده درباره افغانستان. یک بسیار یک اقدام عالی است. ما از همه غربی هایی که در افغانستان حضور داشت خواهش میکنیم که افکارش درباره افغانستان تغییر بکنه، افکارش درباره وضعیت افغانستان تغییر بکنه. ولی ما امروز یک احساس خوشی داریم که اینا با لقب تروریست گفته ما را در اسپیس جای داده و میتونیم با اینا صحبت میکنیم. یک اقدام بسیار عالی است که به گفته اینا یک تروریست در اسپیس خورد آورده و امروز صحبت میکنه. دیگه گپی در طی 20 سال که امریکا
First of all, Jim, he said, thank you so much for seeing this and for basically accepting it and sharing it to us. And this is not just even a tiny drop of the story. Many children and adults lost their life with different stories. Go ahead. I just wanted to make it short. Because he said there's a lot happened very bad way, horrible stories in Afghanistan for the last 20 years. And you know, Jim, you're just one soldier, right? One military, one guy. Imagine all others if they become awake and if they tell the truth, right? And I can accept Mike's guys. I don't know what's wrong with Mike, but Sameera, you and Nice, you should try.
عمر قاضي ترڅو پر ډیره بخنه غواړم ترڅو ته خبرې کوي په دا ټویټر کې مې در سره فالو کا
صحیح ده. گپی دومی است که ما مثال‌های جنایت‌های آمریکا به شمول ناتو در افغانستان داریم. اشاره بکن که برش یادآور شد که در کندوز یک مدرسه دینی بمبار شد که از 500 نفر زیاد در اونجا به شهادت رسید. ما در هلمند یک برخی جنایت‌های از اینا را داریم که سریارسی عروسی شب بمبار کرده بود. تقریبا از 100 150 نفر زیاد مردم عام و ملکی و زنا و مردا به شهادت رسید. تنها جین در افغانستان جنایت نکرده. در افغانستان هر عسکری ناتو جنایت کرده، هر عسکری امریکا جنایت کرده. ولی متاسف هستیم با مو جهانی که امریکا را درباره افغانستان مشروعیت داد و اشغال امریکا را در افغانستان مشروعیت داد. نه تنهایی که مشروعیت داد، بلکه در افغانستان یک کتله فاسد همکاری میکرد، چی به لحاظ پول چی به اساس چی نظامی. ولی ما که جنگ کردیم در طی 20 سال، ما مجبور بودیم، مکلف بودیم، شما آمده بودیم در خانه ما مردم. ما یک مثالش برش میگیم. یک سوال ازش بگو به ما اجازه میدی که ما امرای طیاره خود، امرای تانک خود، امرای توپ خود، امرای سلاح خود امریکا بیاییم و اونجا شما را بکشیم؟ اگر مثال شما بله باشه، بس شما هم حق دارین بیاین در افغانستان مردم ما را بکشین. اگر شما به مردم اجازه نمیتین، پس چرا شما در افغانستان آمدید؟ ولی ما خوش هستیم که اینا اقرار میکنن که ما در افغانستان جنایت کردیم، حضور ما مردم مشروعیت نداشت.
He said, like, do you guys want us to come to America with our bombs and tanks and all that? Do you want that?
I mean, America would say that's what happened on 9/11.
Exactly. So he said, like, if yes, then you have the right to come to my country. But we never done that. So Jim's story is a drop in the ocean. That's what he said. There's a lot of story, and there was a wedding, 150 something people, and they just drop a bomb, drone attack. Nobody talk about it.
یادآوری کندوز و هلمند برش بکن.
And the Kunduz and Helmand, if you do a lot of research there, I think it's a lot of basis for when Pashtun community, Taliban, they just wanted to destroy like the whole generation, because from the great parents, they taught these kids that who's your enemy, and they were awake more than any other Afghans.
Sorry, Meena, just to mention this, like there was a school for children in Kunduz that they bombed that school, and they just killed almost like close to 500 innocent children, and especially the same incident happened in Kandahar as well. And the wedding issue, like Meena mentioned, that it's one of the examples of all the like 20 years of atrocities, like what the Allies did in Afghanistan.
Jim.
So I have a question that I don't know if it's ever been asked, but usually after a war in any country, there is an effort, there's lots of munitions lying about. There's still IEDs in the ground. And the reason I ask this question is, I once saw a young Afghan kid on the outskirts of Garmshire, down in Helmand, step on an IED, which was devastating for me. As the life expectancy for most Afghan children is not beyond the age of 5. And here was a kid who looked around that age, and he doesn't die of malnourishment or hunger or he dies by stepping on an IED that he thought was a toy. He thought it was like kind of a trampoline, and he kept stepping on it. And the problem with that is he was too malnourished to initially, set it off. But he kind of finally threw his full force on it, and, he died. But, I wonder, is the Taliban currently going through an effort of making it safe for people to walk around in Afghanistan? Just for everyday Afghans, because I know in past wars such as Vietnam or Korea, there is an effort, or even World War II, there is an effort to kind of clean up to make it a safe environment. Has the Taliban started to, undertake those efforts, or is there any NGOs that currently undertake those efforts? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. درباره مینا گپ میزنم. میگم مینا یه بود اشتکا فکر میکردن سامان هستن که میگرفتن مثلا بلو اپ میکرد، یا ما میخوایم بفهمم که در ویتنام یا که جنگ یا خلاص شد قدر مردم، یعنی در قصه امیکالا کسایی که قدرت گرفتن در قصه مردم قناع شدن. آیا شما زحمت میکشین که مردم هر روز زندگیشان آسان‌تر شود؟
بله، بسیار سوال خوب است. در افغانستان فیصدی مرگ از قبل که حال بسیار پایین آمده. ما تا بالی خبر نشدیم که سریمین یک انفجار شده باشه و مردم به شهادت رسیده. معنی که ما میشاندیم او فعلا در افغانستان موجود نیست، اما مرگ فیصدی با مین و آمریکا را باید شما مقایسه بکنید که در افغانستان سر مین ها بسیار مردم به شهادت رسیده یا سر بم و توپ و تانگ آمریکا به شهادت رسیده. به هر صورت وقتی ما تقریبا تمام است، ما از اینا تشکر میکنیم که ما را در اسپیس دعوت کرد و ما را قبول کرد و صحبت‌های ما شما را شنوید. یک پیغام ما را به اینا برسان. ما خوش هستیم، بگو افغانا خوش است که فکر شما تغییر کرده، از کشتار و از ظلم و از وحشت آمدین به صحبت کردن، به یک تفاهم سیاسی باور دارین. فعلا اگر 20 سال قبل شما فکر می داشتین نه در افغانستان جنگ می بود، نه امریکایی ها اینقدر تلفات مالی و زیانی و اقتصادی میش داشت و نه افغانستان اینقدر پسمان میماند. تو همین سوال برش جواب برش ترجمه بکو. باز ما یک کمی صحبت دیگه داریم، باز شما خداحافظی میکنیم.
He said, yes, we're trying our best, but remember how many people got killed with drones and bombs and all that in Afghanistan, but we're trying our best. And also he's really happy that you get to see it now. And you, at least, like, instead of war and hate and fight, now you're coming here and talking to us. So I wish this happened 20 years ago. America lost a lot of money, lots of poverty, all the tax money and all that. He basically pointed out what happened to America in the last 20 years, right? And we also got very, like, we lost lives, and we're not, like, we haven't gone anywhere now. We have to start from zero again. So yeah. بفرمایید. One more last line he have and then he have to go.
تشکر. یک دیگه بگو حالی هم وقت است که ما شما با هم صحبت بکنیم، مشکلات خود با هم شریک بسازیم. در افغانستان حضور 20 ساله را بمانیم، ولی برای آینده فکر بکنیم که چطور میتونیم مسائل سیاسی و اقتصادی را با هم حل بکنیم. خواهش ما از اینایی است که شما باید سپیس ها را جور بکنین، ما مردم را دعوت بکنین تا بتوانیم انظوری واقعی افغانستان را بر شما معرفی بکنیم. شما از رسانه ها افغانستان را دیدین ولی از دهن مردم، از صحبت های مردم افغانستان را ندیدین. ما خواهش میکنیم شما شبها و روزها و هر وقتی که وقت داشته باشین سپیس بسازین، ما مردم را دعوت بکنین، بیایم با هم صحبت بکنیم، تفاهم بکنیم تا بتانیم یک راه حل به مشکلات افغانستان بسازیم. 20 سال حضور امریکا یک صورت، اما حال فعلا در افغانستان حضور امریکا نیست، حضور نظامی امریکا نیست. حال تا بتانیم یک راه حل سیاسی درباره افغانستان، درباره چی تفاهم سیاسی با دنیا بسازیم. ما بگو خوش هستیم، یک صحبت آخر میکنیم، ما بگو خوش هستیم که شما فکرتان تغییر کرده درباره افغانستان و یک خواهش میکنیم که درباره حکومت افغانستان تبلیغ نکنیم. بیاین افغانستان از نزدیک ببینین همون منفیگرایی که در افغانستان موجود است. ما نمیخوایم که از دهن شما صفت امارت اسلامی یا توصیف امارت اسلامی را بشنویم. کدام نیمگرتیا ما میگیم، کدام چی که در افغانستان شما اونا را بگوین، ولی واقعیت ها را هم فراموش نکنین، واقعیت ها را تحریف نکنین. چیزی که در افغانستان موجود است اونو را انعکاس بدین. خواهش ما از اینمی ژورنالیست های غربی اینمی است که شما باید
Thank you. Sorry, I'm about to forget. He said that past is gone. We forgive you guys. It's done and over. Let's think about future. So if anyone, you want to do anything for humanity, for, you know, like what you have done in the past and you want to do something good in the future or for right now, please, can you guys, like, let's get together and help each other and help the people and all that. And he's really happy that you get to see Jim. He's actually really happy for that. And he also said, we don't want you guys to talk nice about us. At least stop spreading propaganda. Please come to Afghanistan. Don't listen to no one. Just come and see. Eyewitness. Just come. Have a gut. Come to Afghanistan. Look around. Look at the people. Talk to people. Look in Taliban. You know, why not? It's a beautiful life adventure. So please, we don't want you guys talk nice about us. We don't want that. We just don't want you guys spread propaganda because there's a lot of people. They're going through poverty. A lot of NGOs going to be shut down. A lot of companies just ran away. Money, it's just a lot of chaos right now. So they just want help. Thank you.
تشکر از شما. ما صحبت‌های آخری خود ما را تکمیل می‌کنیم. از کل شما خداحافظی می‌کنیم. وقت خوش، اوقات خوش. ولی یک خواهش از شما اینمی است و اینا بگوییم که شما سپیس بسازید، ما مردم میاییم با شما صحبت میکنیم. ما خوش میشیم که با شما ژورنالیست های غربی، کسی که در امریکا، کانادا، فرانسه، در هر گوشه جهان حضور دارن و تصویرش درباره افغانستان، درباره طالبان، درباره حکومت فعلی منفی است، بشینیم صحبت بکنیم تا یک راه حل پیدا بکنیم. امید داریم که در روزهای آینده ما شما سپیس داشته باشیم، با هم صحبت بکنیم. تشکر جهان، سپاس از دعوت شما. خوش شدیم از صحبت‌های شما. بخیر باشین، وقت خوش. خداحافظ.
He said thank you again. Khuda and he said let's just stay in touch. Don't listen to media. Don't listen to propaganda. This is how we can fix things.
I had a question for him.
Sorry.
آقای کبیر مسیج رو نبینین. Sorry guys, go ahead.
I just want to say one quick thing about Jim's question about traveling around for normal Afghans. I was there just 3 months ago. Afghanistan is safe. We drove from Kabul to Mazar, which is only a 30-minute flight, but it's a 10-hour drive going through Salang Tunnel, up the mountains, down the mountains. That was a trip that you could not have taken in the past 20 years during the occupation. You would have very much been at risk for IEDs, things like that, attacks, all types of stuff. That ride was completely without incident, was completely safe. No one bothered us. No one, it was a very easy trip. The one thing that was the case was that entire road was marred with the scars of bombs and drones. Like, there were literally no paved roads. It was insane to see. But as far as traveling, going about people's daily lives, people are as safe and secure in the past 18 months than they have been in the past 20 years, and it's not even comparable.
There's still like ISIS attacks in the country and stuff, though, right?
Yes, that's very true. But the fact the two sides of a war fighting each other versus interspersed terrorist attacks are two very different things in kind. Yeah. And also, ISIS doesn't actually control any real territory.
Right. Back in the 90s, they did control. I mean, there was some territory controlled by the other forces, the ethnic separatists, and then some territories controlled by the Taliban. But now we have the case where the Taliban controls most of the territories. However, in addition to the same ethno-separatist groups, right, we also have the problem of ISKP and, ETIM and all of these IMU terrorist groups that are, that we have to deal with,
Pedophiles also run away. Thieves run away. A lot of corruptions. I'm happy, especially child trafficking, guys. Right. how many kids got trafficked for the last 20 years in Afghanistan and nobody's talking about it?
There's a reason there's been an uptick in reports out of Europe and Turkey and these places of these types of Muslim Afghan groomers and Afghan pedophiles and Afghan sexual assailants and Afghan drug addicts and whatever. It's because those people all fled when the puppet regime left. They feared the Taliban and they feared Hudud and Sharia punishment, so they all fled, and that's where they end up in Europe.
I have a question regarding Afghanistan, and I may sound ignorant. I know the U.S. has had, a very negative impact on Afghanistan, and I'm never going to downplay that. But I'm wondering, what is the impact of China and Russia and their exploitation in Afghanistan, and how is it currently affecting Afghanistan?
Basil, you can answer that.
Yeah, so the way that the United States obviously has conducted itself with regard to Afghanistan is it's an occupying force with NATO. It's a completely different thing than the way China interacts with Afghanistan. China has already had for a long time now, even during the occupation, had contracted with the previous puppet regime and is currently working with the current government to secure rights to mineral access in the north. There's huge copper deposits, et cetera, et cetera.
Lithium.
Yeah, exactly. Lithium, things. There's all types of railroad systems between Uzbekistan and Afghanistan. So the thing is, China and Russia are our geopolitical neighbors. Okay, they are the largest economies that are geographically close to Afghanistan. It makes perfect sense for those countries to work closely with Afghanistan in aiding its development. I think the interaction between Afghanistan and China and Russia is different in kind to the relationship it's had with America over the past 20 years.
Okay, so because I travel all around the world because I'm in agriculture. And so my experience with most of the countries that I travel with that has Chinese exploitation is that they just pillage the country's resources and then leave the country high and dry when they're done. They gain control politically. And then, it's sort of like a snake. They come in like a snake.
So with the Belt and Road Initiative in particular, now, if you look at even Western studies that have studied this, it's not exploitation when both sides are benefiting. The Chinese do pay these governments.
Yeah, no, they pay the governments, but the
minerals,
people, the people in the country don't benefit from it. That's what I'm saying.
How? I mean, they're getting jobs. They're benefiting.
Not really. No, it's basically the Chinese bring their own people there to work. Actually, so
okay.
So I'm giving an example. Ecuador is an example, right? I travel to Ecuador all the time for agriculture. The Chinese have a massive influence there. They have their own people working there. They have their own ships, basically cleaning up the sea, filling the coffers with fish from right by the Galapagos, where they're legally not allowed to fish. There's a whole, and then they're also doing all the mineral mining there with their own people. They don't pay the Ecuadorians there, except the government.
Well, I don't know much about Ecuador. I will be the first to admit I don't know much about Ecuador. But the difference is that when working with China versus working with something like the IMF or the World Bank, is that the IMF and the World Bank, in exchange for their economic assistance, requires interference in the domestic affairs of the country. China has, yes, there is soft influence, there is soft power that comes from these types of development arrangements, but they're different in kind to the type of explicit quid pro quo type of internal interference that the IMF engages in. China does take a much stricter policy in non-interference with the countries that it works with. The type of soft power and influence that you're talking about that comes from the kind of working with this type of economic behemoth is natural because it's a much larger economy and it's doing this type of development work. But it's different in kinds of the type of explicit quid pro quo type of development that the IMF and the West and the Anglo-American financial empire engages in.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining. But I'm getting super tired. I think, I'm going to chill. But I really had fun. This has been the best space I've ever hosted. Nuance, thank you. Thank you, Meena, for making this happen. I had no idea. First, okay, just to, give you an overview of what happened. I randomly started a chill space. I didn't even record it. And then, a bunch of people came in and we started talking about Andrew Tate. And then I guess Meena came in, and then I knew she's from Afghanistan. So I asked her, hey, it'd be cool to get the Taliban in here to discuss Andrew Tate. And we didn't know that it would actually happen, but it did. So I'm so glad that ended up happening. I had a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. Meena, thanks again. Basil and all of the Olive Bros, the top teas in the space. Thanks so much for participating. Hopefully we can have this sort of dialogue again in the future, right? So that more Westerners can understand and get the actual stuff that's going on.
And normalize relations. That's the takeaway. Normalize relations with the IEA.
Yes. The IEA does not have any UN recognition. Their seat at the UN has been hijacked by the last government. It's the last government, the illegitimate last government of Afghanistan holding that seat. And then there are also sanctions on the Taliban over women's rights. So that's why it's so important for us to debunk the propaganda regarding the Taliban oppressing women. And that's what I've been focusing on for a long time.
We have a different narrative when it comes to majority of women, unfortunately, or luckily, whatever. I don't know how to say it.
I'm so glad we connected.
But thank you, Sameera. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sameera. And I also pinned something up there. And by the way, 20 years, US didn't let Afghans to build something of their own. But in this 18 months, go check out the car Afghans build. And now, lithium in China. And imagine if they turn this car into electronic car. That would be amazing. Huge profit, good money, amazing future for Afghanistan. Again,
Inshallah.
Thank you, Sameera. Thank you so much. Honestly, thanks everyone. تشکر از همه‌تون. خدا حافظ everyone. Thank you.
خدا حافظ.
I have a question for